don't want to have any more old guy grunts in me. There we go. I think I got all of them out of my system. Yeah. Hey, Will Barron. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. We've got a whole lot of game to play. Not a lot of time. Not a lot of days left to do it in. So, we're going to play some Shibuya today. Yo, bruh. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're ready for some Shibuya. I want to play both. I don't know if they're going to come in on time since I ordered physical copies of them, but I want to stream both Three Hopes and Nirvana Initiative when they come out, which is in like 3 days. So hopefully we can finish Shibuya before then. It might not happen, and this is a visual novel. It's a long game. We might have to shelve it for a bit, but we'll see how far we get. Excited for the eventual stream, though. Yeah, Nirvana Initiative. I can't wait. I pre-ordered the special, like, super deluxe version of it. And unfortunately, I've been checking the order status of that stuff like a hawk. And they haven't even marked it as received product yet. So I don't have high hopes I'm going to get it day of. Unfortunately. But I will be playing that when it comes out. I might do double length streams depending, because I don't want to miss out on either Fire Emblem or Somnium Files. It's the problem with ordering physical. You don't get the fucking guarantee that they come out same day. I'm like mildly tempted to also get like the digital version just so I can play it on midnight release, but I feel like that's a bit too extra. And good news is that Three Hopes reviews have started dropping, and people have been praising it. So, I mean, I've played the demo for a very long time at this point just because I've enjoyed playing the game and getting around the characters and setting again. So, but I can't wait to play that. I'm going to up that sound a little bit. Did that with Metroid Dread, you wouldn't judge me? I'd judge me. But yeah, I mean, I'm considering it. Just because, you know, I want to have something to do on the midnight release. It has been so long since I've done a stream. We took like after we had our internet outage scare when we didn't know, we just like took the entire week off of recording shit, and it was nice. I keep forgetting that we need to take like actual breaks and vacations from doing channel stuff every once in a while, because otherwise, like, it's fun and it's rewarding, and it's not as strenuous as you'd think since we do very minimal editing. But holy crap, I felt it when we took a vacation for just a week there and didn't do channel stuff. I was just like, holy shit, I feel it. Really, is it eventual digital release being delisted or cartridge not rot eventually? Yeah. I mean, nothing you can do about it. Impermanence of everything, right? But, you know, gotta take the time for myself. Me too! Speaking of which, let's play a visual novel. So, we are a little bit after 1 p.m. here. Let's see where we got. We got about this far in Minorikawa's route, and then we got Keep Out. I believe that's where we ended last time. We also went through Osawa's route and got the Keep Out right around when not Columbo here was trying to serve him breakfast. So, Kano just fucking dies when we do his route. Why does he die? Let's go find. It's been a little while. I'm gonna go and. What is the hint for this? For Cork. Oh, right, because Kano just goes in and, right, we have to create a distraction for them. Someone has to cause a traffic jam at 1310. And it wasn't what we thought over here. So, let's, I don't know. Let's do Tama. I always wanted to hop in with the whiny I'm not doing whiny voice today. My throat hurts. I could do whiny voice, but I'm not going to. I'm practically praying as I rushed into the knick-knack shop where I immediately spot the cardboard boxes I saw earlier, still stacked up. Yes, I'm in luck. I dive into one of the boxes to check what's inside. It's packed with tiny bottles. There's no mistaking the noxious red liquid inside. That's Burning Hammer, all right. There's 50 bottles per box, and there are 4 boxes total. Assuming each bottle is 100 yen, including tax, I can buy the whole lot with the 20,000 I've got in my wallet. Mr. Yanagashita said he was selling the bottles at the demo for 15,000 yen apiece. That way, if we sell all 200 bottles, he'll be able to pay back his debts no problem. Whoa, what's the deal with you? The grill voice is everything? I mean, if you really want to, I guess I can go back and do that voice. It's fine. The deal with you, the sales clerk's eyes go wide. The sales clerk's eyes go wide when he sees my getup. This stuff. I like your entire stock. I point at the Burning Hammer and the clerk makes an awkward face. I'm afraid that's already been sold. What? You mean like all of it? Nobody in their right mind could possibly want all of this. Yes, all of it, I'm afraid. Well, I'm not going to roll over that easily. Whether I earn that extra 20,000 or not hinges on whether I can get this stuff. Please, you gotta help me out. I'm afraid it's out of my hands. Then, could you get in touch with the buyer? Tell them I'm willing to negotiate. I suppose that wouldn't be an issue, but, actually, would you mind waiting for just a moment? She said she'd be by ASAP. Who is this? Even if I'm speaking with the sales clerk, a girl wearing a hoodie comes in. She's got a tiny frame and a doe-eyed face. Hey, I've got to come to pick up something I reserved, she says. This must be the customer the clerk was talking about. Please, pardon my intrusion, but would you be willing to let me have these diet drinks? I bow extra deep and my costume head wobbles all around. Wait, what? I'll pay you double what they're worth. No can do. I've never seen this brand before. I'm super curious about it. Surely you don't need this many, though? I do. I make my living with my body. This is about how much I'll need. Oh, wow, the sales clerk interjects. What sort of work do you do exactly? I'm a martial artist. I fight at a place called Bride. You might have heard of it. It's one of the more popular hotspots in Shibuya these days. Oh, hey, there she... We saw her in the other route. Oh, I know the place, the sales clerk says, brimming with sudden excitement. That pub where they have cosplay martial arts competitions, right? Hold on, what are we talking about now? What's Bride? I've seriously never heard of the place. It's a nightlife spot where ladies cosplay as anime characters, but they fight for real. Been wanting to check it out, but they've hit their membership cap, the sales clerk explains. At present, the exclusive Bride has already exceeded its allotted number of members and is not accepting new ones. Given the buzz about how both the costumes and the fights are really something to see, memberships that are auctioned off online command quite high prices. I mean, TBH, if you told me there was a bar where I could watch women doing anime cosplay wrestle each other, you know what? You know what? I think I'd understand it. I'd understand the appeal. So then, you must be pretty strong.
He's just the girl. Well, I may not look it, but I'm the current champion. The girl proudly adopts a fighting stance. Would you accept a challenge from me? I ask.
A challenge?
If I win, you have to let me have all of this. The girl breaks into a confident smile.
Do you have any idea who you're dealing with here?
She asks. I intend to find out.
Oh, wow, the sales clerk exclaims. I have just got to see this.
I'm glad to have him egging us on.
Well, if you're that set on it, then sure, I accept your challenge.
Sweet. We've established our terms. This burning hammer may yet be mine. The girl cracks her knuckles, clearly eager for a fight. I gotta win this. Somehow or another, I have got to. I mean, I gotta be good at something, right? Facing off against this fighter is gonna show me what I'm made of. You address my opponent. And by challenge, I naturally mean...
I guess let's have ourselves a straight-up fight. Yeah, fisticuffs? Let's play a rhyming game. Let's do rock, paper, scissors. Do we play Shiratori, or do we have... I think a straight-up fight. I want to see what happens.
Let's have ourselves a straight-up fight. The girl grins nice and wide, like she's been waiting to hear me say that.
Okay, you're on. The name's Miku, by the way. Challenge accepted.
Miku and I march out of the shop onto the pavement, and we stare each other down.
So if you win, I'll let you buy the burning hammer,
Miku says.
But if I win, I get to keep it, and you have to pay for it.
What? Isn't that a little unfair?
If you don't like it, then it's no fight, no deal.
You don't have time to rethink this. All right.
Rock, paper, scissors is the most intense game ever. It's life or death sometimes. True! Ready whenever you are.
Miku does a little brisk shadow boxing, throwing around a repeated 1-2 combination.
Shadow boxing is a training technique for boxing. Involves practicing strikes, guards, and evasions against an opponent who isn't actually there.
Whoa, what's the deal?
Oh, wait, this is random. Whoa, what's the deal? Is something going on? It's a street fight.
A number of people pass by, including a businessman, a couple, as well as some pretty gruff-looking fellows, and some of them stop from a small crowd.
Couple is Achi Endo and Hitomi Osawa. They pass by while running away from some mysterious foreigners. Yo, okay, so we can get them to we can interrupt them by creating a street fight and distracting them. We'll jump over to them in what's over here. Asao Ozu and his underling, Yutaro Sagawa, members of the Tenryu Gumi Yakuza Syndicate. The Tenryu Gumi operates a lending firm called Takarada Financing, and these two have been tasked with collecting outstanding debts. They've already collected from one client today. Next, they plan on grabbing lunch before heading off to find their next target. Let's, jump on over, see if we can save Achi's story here. Oh, we can't. Never mind.
Sales demo's already started by now. I don't have time to goof around here. He watches Miku start upper footwork.
Huh.
Left jab. She's quick. I can see why she's the champion.
Hi-ya!
She immediately follows up the jab with a right hook. I jerk aside at the last possible moment and deliver a little swat to Miko's shoulder.
A hook is a type of punch. It involves swinging the arm in a wide arc to strike the opponent from the side. In mixed martial arts bouts, it's common to see a fighter continue the momentum from a hook to catch the opponent by the arm, transitioning immediately into a takedown and pin.
Whoa! She slips off balance and pitches forward.
Oh, wow, what was that?
The crowd has started clamoring. Miku rights herself and gets back into a fighting stance. What the? How?
Oh, yeah, that's her. What the? How?
She doesn't seem to know what just happened.
Ah!
This time I watch as she unleashes a kick with her left leg from a distance. On reflex, I bring up my right hand and adopt a guarding stance.
Gotcha!
She calls out. It was a feint. There's a visceral whump as the second kick connects, coming at me from a different angle.
Whoa, what gives?
My big mascot head serves to cushion the blow to the point that I barely feel it.
Hi-ya!
She proceeds to unleash a string of additional kicks with her left leg, trying to defeat my fuzzy armor. Eventually, I catch hold of her foot. Holding her off balance, I begin to walk her backward, making her hop awkwardly on one leg. Gah! A casual flip of my paw, and Miku goes whirling through the air.
Whoa! Whoa!
Wow! The crowd erupts into cheering and applause at the spectacle.
You're tough. Just who the heck are you?
As you can see, I am a cat.
Oh, I missed this game.
A wry smile comes to Miku's face.
To think a bride competitor would lose in a street fight. Guess it's time to go back to being an ordinary girl. Today's the day I retire.
Ah, what? Okay, good match there. That seems like a lot to go through. Okay. Miku clasps my hands firmly.
But hey, I'm just glad that my last opponent was you. Do we ship it? I think we ship it. Ship the cosplay MMA lady with the lady that's stuck in a cat costume. I think this works.
I hoist up the boxes of the diet drink. So how much does this come to? Asked the sales clerk.
He shakes his head. Oh, don't worry about pavement. You've more than earned it with that spectacular display just now. That was really something. Heck, even I'm shocked at what just happened. It's amazing what a little desperation will do for you. So that move you used, lesbian moment, yep. That was some Aiki Jujitsu, yeah? A traditional Japanese martial art that emphasizes learning to anticipate an opponent's first move and instantaneously counterattack. Skilled practitioners can toss and throw opponents with a simple touch. The art predates the development of the more pacifistic Aikido, and so some dangerous techniques still remain.
Huh? Oh, yes? I tilt my head non-committally.
Come now, no need to be so humble. I'm a martial arts fanatic. I know my moves when I see them. Knick-Knack shop owner Taisi Yasuda watches roughly 350 martial arts fights a year. He's particularly fond of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and is thinking about studying it himself. Oh, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Was that the Gracies? I watched a thing about MMA exactly once, and that's everything I've learned about it. There's a dojo he's been eyeing, but he's rather timid and has thus far only waffled non-committally outside the entrance to the place. Yo, GJ! Garfield-phobic streamer. I don't know what you're talking about.
He can call it whatever he wants. If he's letting me have the drinks for free, this is going to be a lifesaver.
Is that all the shopping you'll be doing with us today?
Yes. Actually, come to think of it, I do have one request, I say.
Sure thing.
Could you please not sell that necklace there? I promise I'll be back to buy it later.
Sure, no problem.
The sales clerk gives a deep bow. I did it. I managed to solve my burning hammer problem. I just got to get back to the sales demo.
Oh, that must be awfully heavy. Here, why don't you use that dolly?
The sales clerk indicates the hand truck over in the corner. Oh, thank you so much. I load the pile of boxes onto the cart and rush back to the Nokane building. I know the sales demo will be well underway. I need to get back as soon as I can. If there's nothing to buy, the customers are going to leave, and everything I've gone through will have been for nothing. Come on, Tama. You can do it. I just gotta hurry. I charge for the demo, pushing the dolly ahead of me like a battering ram. Oh no. Sorry to keep you waiting.
You're late. What the heck have you been doing?
Mr. Yanagashita practically throws himself at me. The weight must have been killing him. Standing behind him is a man I don't recognize. Who's that guy?
Okay, so now we can hop over to Minorikawa's. We can't. Never mind.
Doesn't look like a customer.
Okay, Tama, just come with me for a minute.
I follow Mr. Yanagashita into the break room. I'm sorry I'm late. There was a whole bunch of stuff that happened, but look, I got the product back. I'll probably open up one of the cardboard boxes.
Yo, it's a burning hammer. It really, really is.
Yanagashita clutches the box close, nuzzling it with his cheek. How's the demo going? I ask.
I've got Chiri keeping them occupied with some magic tricks.
I sneak a peek through the door and see Cheery guzzling orange juice from a gigantic container, draining it in one go. Is that really a magic trick?
If it buys us time, it's magic enough. You love his Bob Ross cut? Yeah, his actor is the most, like, tragic person I've ever heard of. It's so, it makes me so sad.
Before long, the last of the juice is gone. Over in the corner of the stage, I see 6 more huge containers, all likewise empty. It's shocking to think that she may have drunk all 7 of those things dry. The audience erupts into a sincere applause, like they've forgotten what they originally came here for.
Yo, mi badada! Finally finished reading Gumi Chapter 5 last weekend. So much happened. Right? Holy crap. Just, I think Chapter 5 was when it just, like, oh my. I won't spoil anything because it's an unrelated stream right now, but yeah. I'm glad you got through Chapter 5.
Cherry comes back to the break room, positively drenched in sweat.
I think I should have stuck to doing imitations for a little longer.
No, that was fantastic.
Oh, no, that's true. No, that was fantastic, Cheery.
Mr. Yanagashita says.
Just fantastic. Thanks to you, we had enough time to get the burning hammer back.
He bows profusely.
All right, now's the time for the main event. Cheery, go out there, guzzle down some burning hammer. Get yourself all drenched in sweat. Got it? Aye, aye, boss. And Tom would just go up there, smile out big and say,
This'll help me lose a bunch of weight, too.
I tried to do her voice, but him doing it's right. Got it?
Got it.
Now then.
Yanagashita gestures to a man I hadn't noticed before who's been waiting quietly nearby.
Of course. Begging your pardon, miss.
It's a service rep from the rental shop who proceeds to try to get me out of my mascot suit.
Oh, yo! Can't wait for EP7 video 1, won't say why. Yeah. I'm like torn between wanting to hop right into it and wanting to take some more time to figure stuff out, but also I don't think we can afford to take a bigger break from it at this point, so we're probably just going to hop right into it. Masamichi Fukuma, employee of the Far East Costume Rentals. The only son of a company president, Shigemichi Fukuma. He is one of few people known who know what Shigemichi looks like, as his father is usually clad in a rabbit costume. Masamichi has harbored a strong dislike for both his father and mascot costumes ever since the old man showed up at school on Parents' Day 1 year, dressed in his inevitable rabbit suit. I think your dad's just a furry, dude. Nonetheless, the son has acquiesced to his father's wishes, and someday he'll inherit the family business. Huh. Oh, that's odd.
The rental guy tilts his head.
What's the matter?
Yanagashita asks nervously.
Yeah, this is a no-go.
Rental guy pokes his finger at the back of my suit.
This here zipper, it's all jammed up. It's gonna take a long time to get this thing off.
What the hell? Mr. Yanagashita clutches the sides of his head. The rental guy tries tugging at the costume from various angles, hoping to free up the zipper, but I think he said it's no use. Meow. The rental guy's eyes widen at the sudden sound of a cat's mewling.
Was that you?
He looks at me confused.
Did you just hear a cat meowing?
Yes.
Was it you?
No, not me. I'm just as surprised as he is.
Must be hearing things.
Mr. Yanagashita and Cheery don't seem to have heard anything.
Duh!
Yanagashita is fuming.
Just my luck. Finally find a cute model and the crowd's never gonna see her. Hey, boss. Cheery says, the customers are gonna leave if you keep them waiting much longer. What do we do? Want to go out there and do some more impressions? Chiriko's repertoire of impressions. Number 1, a sea lion yawning. Number 2, a harbor seal hailing a cab. Number 3, a walrus reading sutras. Number 4, a fur seal who can't reach the itchy spot on his back. Number 5, a stellar sea lion taking a nap. These are very good impressions. No, we don't have any choice. Tama, you're just gonna have to go out there dressed up like that.
Are you sure? I ask.
Those people go home, we're done for.
He exclaims.
Just get out there and get started. I'm counting on you too.
Well, all right then.
Ladies, terribly sorry to have kept you waiting.
Cheery and I spring into action on stage.
But now I'm proud to introduce you to the world. Wait, hold on. This is going to be Tama. Okay.
But now I'm proud to introduce you to the worldwide sensation that is Burning Hammer. The latest product from the West that has taken the diet world by storm. Every seat in the house is packed. That means there's about 40 people here, willing to sell 5 bottles to each customer in order to sell out. I'm hit with a sudden jolt of motivation. Allow us to explain just how this revolutionary new diet drink works. It's magic.
Oh, this is Cheery. Allow us to explain just how this revolutionary new diet drink works. Its magic. Cheery begins.
The plan is for me to describe how the drink works, and then Cheery will demonstrate it with a taste test. All eyes are fixed on us. I begin. For the first time in human history, you could drink a single bottle and lose a whole kilogram. Just drink and burn that excess weight away. Astonished gasps rise up from the crowd. Just take a look at this marvelous red liquid. Even looking at it makes you feel like you'll be shedding weight, right? Here's how Burning Hammer works. It activates the
what the fuck word is this? Capsaicin? Capsaicin? Thank you, Vivian.
It activates the capsaicin found in chili peppers.
Capsaicin is the primary spice component of chili peppers, said to be the effective for improving blood flow and stimulating the burning of fat. Because it is a severe skin and eye irritant, it is also an ingredient in some forms of pepper spray for personal defense.
I pause to take a deep breath before continuing, and rapidly breaks down the triglycerides responsible for causing obesity.
Though the term is frequently used in recent years to simply refer to the state of being overweight, obesity in the clinical sense is a medical condition involving interrelated health issues including excess body fat, hyperlipidemia, and hyperglycemia. Individuals suffering from obesity are at high risk of complications such as coronary heart disease, diabetes, and sleep apnea.
Again, the crowd hums with excitement. This response is better than I could have hoped for.
Yo, Raina, thank you. Hope you're having a good day.
We're off to a terrific start here. And now this young lady here will demonstrate Burning Hammer's effects before your very eyes. Cheery steps into the spotlight. Just wait till you see how much she sweats. Proof that the fat is being burned right there on the spot. Cheery holds a bottle of Burning Hammer up high.
Cheers,
she says. She opens the bottle, however. One of the women in the front row speaks up.
Hold on, she's already sweating pretty hard.
She's right. Cheery's drenched in sweat from head to toe. Another one chimes in, suspicious.
A la that juice drinking from earlier. That was all just to make her sweat for that. Like, make her sweat like that, weren't it? Oh, I see what they're going for here.
All of a sudden, the crowd is in an uproar. No, not at all. Burning Hammer makes you sweat way more than this. They rush to towel off Cheery's sweat for her.
Go on, hurry up, drink it down.
Cheery's face screws up unpleasantly as she gulps down the bottle. And the sweat doesn't come. Why isn't it working? Exclaimed the audience, momentarily forgotten.
How's the 428? It is so good. It is good. I'm glad to be back into it. I'm hoping we can get through as much of this as possible before other games start coming out this month. But I this game continues to be charming. So guess I've already sweated out too much.
Cheery replies, unfazed. Well, why were you sweating so much?
Look, you were taking forever at the 100-yen shop.
The crowd shifts from uproar into riot. Did she just say 100-yen shop? Scowling customers begin to close in. No, that's not it. You've got it all wrong. Please just listen.
Oh, we can see what's going on here.
The situation's gotten out of our control.
Look, this product is so valuable that a 100-yen shop is about the only way we could get it.
Uh-oh. I think I just put my foot in it. Customers glare at me, their eyes bright with rage.
I don't think forgiveness will work here. Just a joke. Hunko lamb chop. Sure.
Hunk a lamb chop. It's a clumsy attempt to force it off, but it's my only option. She said, hunk a lamb chop. I repeat, meaning that Burning Hammer is just so incredibly filling, having just one tiny bottle will feel like you've eaten a big meaty meal. Yeah, that's what she meant.
Uh-huh.
Sneers one customer.
Sure. Do they really sell this at 100-yen shops?
Rats, we didn't manage to distract them.
Huh? 100-yen shop? What's that? Answer me. Do they really sell these at 100?
Look, I cry. It's the chupacabra. I thrust my arm out to point, only to accidentally catch one of the attendees in the head with my fuzzy fist. The woman lets out a muted groan and sinks to the ground unconscious. The rest of the crowd stares at me, stunned. Oops, I murmur.
Tama!
Shouts Mr. Yanagashita, rushing out of the break room.
What the heck are you doing? Abort, abort!
He howls.
If you let these people know the truth about this stuff, they'll never buy it.
Uh-oh, now you've done it. Cheery doesn't hesitate to point the finger at him, her stare ferocious.
Whoops.
Realizing when he just blurted out, Mr. Yanagashita is aghast. Now there really is no saving this. Customers descend upon Mr. Yanagashita, their wrath a terror to behold.
So then it is true. What the hell are you trying to pull? I can't believe you tried to sell this crap for these prices.
The throng goes on the attack.
Help!
Cheery and I force our way through the angry mob, hoping to find some way to calm these people down. Cursing and profanity fill the air. The shouts are accompanied by merciless, open-handed slaps. I get all jostled and tumbled about, and my mascot costume takes a bad beating. Finally, the storm passes.
These people have no chill. Well, they don't have any chill because they didn't buy the product with the chili in it.
It's over. It's all over.
Oh, that's Mr. Yanagashita. It's over. It's all over.
Mr. Yanagashita wails into the empty room. So, boss, how getting paid?
Even Cheery seems hesitant to ask. Yeah, that's not going to happen, obviously.
Yanagashita doesn't so much as look up. His shoulders slump further in defeat.
I'll take payment in kind then.
Cheery says.
Mind if I take this burning hammer home with me? Sure.
Yanagashita says lifelessly.
Go right ahead. All right, I'll be off then. Later, Tama.
Cheery picks up the cardboard boxes and heads out. Sir?
Oh, that's right. Sir? It's the man from the rental place. I believe you still owe me for the costume rentals? Oh, right. How much was it again?
Mr. Yanagashita rummages in his pockets.
Well, given the severe damage, I'm afraid I have to add the full cost of the catsuit to your bill. Total comes to 200,000 yen. Huh? 200,000 yen? No 200 yen? No, sir, 200,000. Huh? Sorry, I can't hear at all. I think I might have ruptured my eardrum. 200,000 yen, sir. Okay.
Yanagashita takes all the cash he has in his wallet and holds it out reluctantly.
That's only 20,000, sir.
The rental guy furrows his brow.
I'm afraid this won't cover it. I understand that. But I haven't got no more than this. Don't got no more. Sir, please, you're not a child. Then give me a discount. Make it 20,000. Instead of the 200 you owe? No, I can't do that, sir.
But Mr. Yanagashita refuses to back down.
That's right, insurance. I got insurance in the event the suit would wind up damaged. No, you didn't. No, I did. You did not, sir. No, I did. Then where is your paperwork to prove it?
Yanagashita calmly claps a hand to his chest.
Right here. The paperwork is here, inside my heart. Full story without watching the 13-episode anime spin-off by Kinoko Nasu? Who knows?
The rental guy clutches the sides of his head in exasperation. And believe me, I feel his pain.
You know what? Never mind. I'm going to leave this to my boss. Shikimichi Fukuyama, the president and owner of the Far East Costume Rentals, notable for the fact that he's usually wearing his favorite rabbit costume. To Shikimichi, his costumes are like his children. If he were to hear that one of his suits had been ruined, he would probably never forgive Yanagashita, adding to the man's already considerable list of enemies.
Now it's just me and Mr. Yanagashita. He's not to try to let it get you down so much, sir. I say as cheerfully as I can muster. He's already down on the floor, sobbing like a mess.
You want to know what it's like to feel so utterly hopeless?
I think I might have an idea, sir. In fact, I'm sure of it.
At this point, there's nothing more I could possibly do.
He slumps forward, trembling like a willow tree. Things will turn around, sure enough, I'm sure.
You don't know me like I know me.
He says,
There's not going to be any turnaround. Not after this.
okay, now this little pity party is starting to piss me off. You know, if you're thinking the one person who's had a run of bad luck, you are dead wrong. I end up shouting the words louder than I intended. Mr. Yanagashita whips his head back up.
Yikes, where'd that come from?
I need to tell you something. My pent-up emotions come surging to the surface. I have amnesia. Yanagashita's eyes go wide.
What?
I can't remember anything from before this morning.
Amnesia can have a variety of causes. Psychogenic amnesia is caused by stress or psychological trauma, whereas in endogenous amnesia, a powerful blow to the head causes physical trauma to the brain. In the latter case, memories and other normal functions frequently return once the cranial nerves recover.
I don't remember anything from before I put on the suit. I think I just became the suit. I'm nothing without it now. I don't want to go back. I can't remember anything from before this morning. My name, how old I am, where I live, any of it. I would much rather be in your shoes, sir.
Amnesia, this game truly has everything. Hi, Henri. I know, this game just keeps delivering. I'm like, no, there's no way you can keep surprising me, right? And then it's like, what if we did?
Miss Yanagashita looks at me with a hint of disbelief.
So where'd you get the name Tama, then?
I thought of it when I saw the tamagoyaki in those lunch boxes.
Oh, Tamagoyaki. Tama. I get it.
He claps himself on the thighs as if he's had some big eureka moment.
But, wait. How come you lost your memories?
Well, I don't know for certain. Obviously, I don't remember, but pretty sure I took a hard blow to the head. When I came to, I was inside of a storehouse with a massive headache.
A storehouse? Before, I got stuck in a cat suit. Now, I am the cat.
A surge of vertigo washes through me as I recall waking up in that strange, dim place.
Wait, is it going to turn out Tom is one of the kidnapping victims? Or something like that?
Yeah, I just gotten out of there when you flagged me down, sir.
Oh, really? So it's pretty unnerving then, not knowing who you are?
Sounds like he's taking me seriously now. Yeah, it sure is, but it's not gonna do me any good just to fret over it. And besides, I got a clue.
What sort of clue? Reject humanity, embrace furry? Yeah.
This necklace I saw at a knick-knack shop. The same place I found the burning hammer. Somehow I know it's important to me.
And you took this job so you could afford to buy it?
I nod. Of course, now that the job has ended in a total bust, I've lost my shot at getting it.
Okay, then.
Mr. Yanagashita removes his shoe, then yanks out the insole.
This here really is the last of my money.
He pulls out 20,000 yen, adds it to the other 20,000 from his wallet, and thrusts it all toward me.
Here you go.
He says,
That includes the reimbursement for the burning hammer you picked up.
I pluck up two of the 10,000 yen bills between my fingertips. I actually didn't have to pay for it, so the 20,000 we agreed upon is fine, but how about you, sir? You gonna be okay? Think after all this?
Compared to your misfortunes, mine are nothing. They might send me up the creek without a paddle, but I'll bounce back somehow. I'm sure of it. And then...
Clutching his fist, Mr. Yanagashita gets a far-off look in his eye.
And then one more time. I'm gonna go see a bride fight.
My jaw nearly drops. Bride? Like the martial arts pub?
Wait, you know about Bride? Man, I spent so much money at that place.
Wow, it really is a small world.
Especially that Miku. Wonder how much she has made me spend.
Miku, huh? I'm pretty sure I just accidentally forced her into retirement, but I decided to keep quiet on that front.
Gonna learn that Tom is the secret lost third sister in virology man is gonna be delighted and immediately get confused by the cat suit, right? Tama's gotta be somewhat of importance to the rest of the plot. Like, at first I thought it was just like, oh, she's a spin-off thing, but as soon as they, like, confirmed, like, no, she actually does have amnesia, I'm like, okay, that's gonna be important somehow, right?
He nods.
To be honest, the reason I borrowed all that money was to pay my tabs at that place. And to borrow from some pretty shady sources, too.
Can't help but suspect that this poor guy got the raw deal.
Why don't you take that mascot costume with you?
Huh? I mean, You don't really need it.
No, I insist. Take it with my blessing.
Sure. I'll be on my way then. I feel more comfortable inside the costume than outside of it now. On the hallway, I passed by the man I'd noticed earlier, the one I didn't recognize.
Still can't jump yet. Okay.
Odd. The sales demo's over. Wonder why he's still here. Give him a faint nod, and he nods back before slipping into the demo room. I should keep my fingers crossed for the guy. At last, I'm back outside the building. I feel bad about not returning the catsuit to the man from the rental place, but still, I can't just walk around town wearing this thing. I'll stick out like a sore thumb. I figure it's best just to leave it behind. And then it dawns on me. Hold on, I still can't get this thing off.
Well, let's leave it on. Let's leave it on. He's Thomas' future sugar daddy, and he's important to the future plot. Oh my god. What if this game had time loops in?
I guess this cat's staying in the bag.
A popular folk etymology asserts that the expression, let the cat out of the bag, comes from the unscrupulous practices of certain farmers who would sell a pig at market, only to deceive the buyer by surreptitiously swapping out the purchased porker for a cat. The likelihood of anyone mistaking a cat, even one-sided bag, for a pig is, however, extremely low, let alone the likelihood that enough people would fall for such a scheme to warrant a phrase referring to it entering the language. Blech. All right. So that's where we're stopped on Tama for now. Man, we are not making progress here with these. So Tama we got to keep out. Osawa we got to keep out. Oh, Minorikawa's is different now. Minorikawa used to also have a thing that we couldn't get past, but let's see if we can move further here now. If last time we picked, I'm just gonna go. Let's see. Then I'm just gonna go home. He kept his tone clipped and cool. Hey, now, no need for that, sir. Just settle down. Who doesn't like a silly little magic show now and then? You've got 2 minutes. Hey, you made it get it past already. 1 minute. Whoa! Just what kind of watch you got there? Tell me why the demo isn't starting. Well, you know, no real reason, really. The man was getting seriously flustered. I just, you know, wanted folks to get to see my little magic show first. Nope. Try again. 30 seconds left. Okay, all right. What happened to the required merchandise? What happened to the merchandise? Minorikawa demanded. He gave the guy a dagger stare. You know, it just, time's up. What? The man's face went pale. Still keep out, huh? I thought we tried doing this already from Thomas' side, but it wouldn't let it. Maybe it'll let us in now? Let's try jumping from here. Okay, so we've read this part. Yep. Man I don't recognize. Can we jump from here now? Okay, now we can jump. Got it.
Oh, sorry to keep you waiting.
A girlish voice exclaimed. A moment later, a furry figure came charging into the demo room. The crowd fell silent at the sight of a young woman in a cat costume. The cat girl panted visibly. Her arms were loaded with cardboard boxes. You're late, the event organizer snapped. What the heck have you been doing? Grabbing the newcomer by one paw, he vanished with her into the back room. The chubby-cheeked girl wrapped up her magic routine and hurried after them. The audience stared at the now empty stage in confusion. Several minutes passed before the organizer reappeared. Ladies, terribly sorry to have kept you waiting, he called out. But now I'm proud to introduce you to the worldwide sensation that is Burning Hammer. You could just see the clouds of her breath coming out of the cat costume. Yeah, exactly. At his signal, the young woman and the cat appeared on stage. Allow us to explain just how this revolutionary new diet drink works. It's magic. Oh, allow us to... It's just... Fuck, I'm so out of practice at this.
Allow us to explain just how this revolutionary new diet drink works. It's magic.
The young woman exclaimed cheerily. The cat nodded and threw out her arms.
For the first time in human history, you can drink a single bottle and lose a whole kilogram. Just drink and burn that excess weight away.
And with that, the sales demo was underway, a good 25 minutes behind schedule. 5 minutes into the presentation, things began to go awry. An angry clamor filled the room. The heck are you trying to pull? I can't believe you actually tried to sell something like this. The outrage had been triggered by something the young woman on stage had said. She'd inadvertently let slip that Burning Hammer was the sort of thing you could buy at a 100-yen shop. The would-be customers were furious to learn that they were about to be played for suckers. Most of them had immediately tried to storm out of the room. Now the organizer, the full-figured young woman, and the girl in the cat costume were at the door trying their best to hold back the tide. Things had gotten pretty interesting, really. Minorikawa pulled out his digital camera and started firing off snapshots into the angry crowd. A digital camera, if you didn't know, some modern digital cameras come with the remarkable ability to automatically trigger the shutter when the subject smiles. This function also works if the camera is presented with a TV or photo image of people smiling. There are even cases of cameras recognizing faces in the wood grain of ceilings. After all, if we can make out faces in the wood when we're gazing lazily up at the ceiling, we can't fault a camera for doing the same. Unfortunately, their frenzy was so intense that he was soon caught up with the flow and pushed out of the room. Fine, I guess I'll just need to do some interviews instead of grabbing pictures. Excuse me, he asked one young woman. Would you mind if I ask you some, Shut your mouth! Would you mind telling me a little bit about... Don't you talk to me! Could I get a word on... Unbelievable, just unbelievable! The women were so enraged that Minorikawa couldn't get any of them to give him the time of day. Minorikawa hasn't done anything wrong. I think, I'm like, of everyone here so far, Minorikawa's mostly just been like, I'm trying to help a dude out. Before long, the entire crowd had surged out of the room and departed. Oh well, guess I got enough to do a write-up at least. Though it would be nice to get a quote from somebody. He decided to try for an interview with the man who'd organized this fiasco. How did the guy feel, for instance, about his product scam falling through? K-drama vibes right now, right? It just needs to... All it needs is for it to rain and maybe take place at a subway. Heading back into the event room, Minorikawa passed by the cat mascot. Oh, that might be able to get us out of the lock here now. Let's try that. Oh, no, that's not going to help us. Just don't worry about that. Just gonna hop right back in. The cat gave him a tiny nod and walked off without a word. He couldn't see the face of the girl inside the costume, but she seemed genuinely dejected that Burning Hammer had been a bust. Hey, I'm Minoru Minorikawa, freelance reporter. I was wondering if I could have 5 minutes of your time? The organizer sat alone in the midst of his ruined displays. Oh, it's you. The man's voice had lost all of its earlier punch. Here, my credentials. Minorikawa handed him a business card. The man introduced himself as Yanagashita, and Minorikawa got right down to business. So your sales demo is over, Mr. Yanagashita. How do you feel right now? How do I feel? Tomorrow is another day, I guess. Minorikawa was impressed by the guy's candor. I'm a little surprised to hear that, he said. I figured you'd be more disappointed. Oh, I'm plenty disappointed. I took a big gamble here to repay my debts, and I lost. Yanagashita didn't seem to be trying to hide anything. Debts? Minorikawa asked. There was a girl I was in love with, Yanagashita said. I wound up spending everything on her. He stared wistfully into the distance. Ah, interesting, Minorikawa said. You wouldn't be the first man to go to such lengths for a woman. Yeah, Yanagashita said. I suppose not. A rueful smile crossed his lips. This guy didn't strike Minorikawa as some dyed-in-the-wool scam artist. But I decided it was time to stop feeling sorry for myself, Yanagashita went on. There are plenty of people in the world who have it way worse off, you know? You got that right, Minorikawa nodded in agreement. So I just figure, well, as long as I'm still alive, maybe another opportunity will come my way. A more earnest smile broke through Yanagashita's forlorn expression. Minorikawa wished Toyama could have been there to hear this fellow. I have a friend who's in an incredible amount of debt myself, Minorikawa said. He runs a publishing company, but there was a big mix-up with the scratch cards in the magazine, and, the scratch cards? It's not important, Minorikawa said. Letting more people know about the whole scratch card fiasco certainly wouldn't do Toyama any favors. Anyhow, debt is a terrible thing, Minorikawa nodded sagely. Oh, by the way, this is unrelated, but are you familiar with a group called SOS? Apparently there's some legendary street gang here in Shibuya. SOS? Yanagashita shook his head. No, I've never heard of them. Guess I'm not going to get any leads on that case here. Minorikawa wondered if there was anything else worth asking this guy. Maybe Yanagashita would be willing to take his Shibuya Now survey? Taking a little bit of burn off Chiaki seemed like a good idea. I have another question. How do you feel about your life right now? Huh? How do you feel about your life? Your products aren't selling, you can't repay your debts, and yet you still refuse to give up, believing opportunity will come your way. How do you feel about all of that? Yanagashita paused in thought. I'd say I'm a pretty lucky guy. Minorikawa was taken somewhat aback by that response. I haven't been able to sell any burning hammer, and sure I can't pay off my debts, but even so... Yanagashita looked Minorikawa right in the eye. The two cute young girls I got working for me have stuck with me through thick and thin. Sometimes maybe you just need to be content with something like that, you know? That was refreshingly forthright. Minorikawa was surprised. And I mean, so what if I got debts? Yanagashita went on. In the long run, none of that matters. Not really. There was a knock at the door. Oh, excuse me a moment, Yanagashita said. Wonder who that could be. He opened the door and his face froze. Damn, wasn't quite quick enough. Mr. Minorikawa? Yes? You have to pardon me, I've had a little something crop up here, so if you don't mind. Oh, sure, not a problem. I've got other interviews I need to get to anyway, so I'll just, Yanagashita was out the door before Minorikawa could even finish. Stepping out into the hallway, Minorikawa could faintly hear voices from the adjoining demo room. Sounded like Mr. Yanagashita and two other men. Minorikawa couldn't make out any words, but he could tell they were arguing about something. It was probably some consumer complaint against one of his products or an issue with the client company, something along those lines. Man, people who run companies sure have it rough. You hang in there, Mr. Yanagashita. And then Mr. Yanagashita's body was found in Tokyo Bay. Oh, perfect timing! Minorikawa stopped short as a familiar voice called out to him. It was the man who had spoken to earlier that afternoon about the surveillance cameras. Hey, come here for a sec! The man waved him over. Ugh, what is it? I'm real busy right now. I've got a scoop for you. I saw it with my own eyes. Minorikawa raised an eyebrow. Give me the details? Okay, so a little while ago, I saw some foreign guy in handcuffs arguing with someone who looked like a detective. A foreigner in handcuffs? Had there been some kind of international sting or something? Whatever the case, it wasn't such a rare thing. Where was this? Just over there, behind the police station. Minorikawa furrowed his brow. A suspect arguing with a cop outside a police station wasn't all that weird. Still, he had a feeling he was missing something here. Well, the big thing was what happened afterward, the man said. Afterward? The man leaned in conspiratorially. The detective undid the guy's handcuffs and just let him run off. Whoa, what? I'm telling you, man, it had to have been like a bribe or something. A bribe? That seemed unlikely. I swear that's what it had to be. There was some wheel greasing going on. You're not making all of this up, are you? Minorikawa asked. He regarded the man coldly, but the guy still seemed quite legitimately worked up. It's all true. Please, you have to report this to the police right away. Why do I have to? Minorikawa asked. If you have a tip for the police, go give it to them yourself. He didn't quite manage to stop himself from saying that out loud.
I can't. I'm no good when it comes to the police. Besides, they're never going to believe someone like me.
Okay, so maybe you had a point there.
But you're some world-class reporter, right? Cops will totally take your word over that random nobody.
Minorikawa didn't have time to debate the point. It was easier just to make the call. Give me the details, he said with the Roblox man face. Yeah, basically. He phoned up the police to leave his tip. The man bowed repeatedly, looking pretty grateful.
Oh, thank you so much. I haven't been able to get any business done with those scary thugs around.
What thugs? What line of business are you in, anyway?
What?
The man suddenly went pale.
Whoops, I gotta get going.
He skittered off in alarm. Minorikawa was left to wonder what this guy's line of work actually was, but he had more important things to worry about at the moment. He hurried off in the other direction. Before long, he arrived back at Café Lautrec. The clock on the wall showed that it was close to 2 o'clock. He had to somehow fill 6 more pages before the loan company came to Heaven Publishing to collect. He booted up his laptop.
What's with this coffee shop?
Said a low, stern voice. You got no good magazines here. Minorikawa looked up. An older man was complaining to one of the waitresses. It was the same guy who'd been yelling at his daughter earlier. Evidently, he'd been here at the cafe this whole time. Haven't you got any magazines for me to read? The man's face was a mask of irritation. Minorikawa glanced at the magazines in the rack. They were mostly geared toward a younger reader. The waitress sifted through the stacks and pulled something from the back.
Perhaps this would be to your liking, sir?
She said. She held out an issue of 4-star general gossip. Don't be ridiculous, the man spat out dismissively. This is just vulgar, low-grade filth. I wouldn't even use the paper it's printed on for compost. That was a harsh way to put it, but Minorikawa couldn't fault him for speaking the truth. Surveillance man? Yeah, you had someone we tried to talk to earlier about surveillance cameras. The man continued grumbling as he went back to his seat. Minorikawa headed over to the magazine rack himself and picked up the gossip. He opened the front cover and found the scratch card still inserted within. These things were still out there. It was bad news. Toyama might end up even further in debt. Bah! Minorikawa yanked the scratch card out and tore it to bits. Sir, what are you doing? The waitress rushed to stop him, only for the pieces to rain down on her like confetti. The magazine itself is still perfectly readable, Minorikawa said. There's no problem here. He strode back to his seat and gazed at his laptop screen. It still hadn't finished booting up. In the meantime, he decided to give Chiaki a call. She picked up right away. Hello? Minorikawa asked. Hi there, good to hear from you, Chiaki replied. How is progress? I did it, Chiaki said, her voice overcome with emotion. I managed to get people to hear me out. Of course you did. You got your pointers from me. I couldn't have done it without you, Mr. Mino. Her mood had done a complete 180. Minorikawa allowed himself a little sigh of relief. Okay then, he said. Head back to the editing department and put together an article for me. You got it, sir, Chiaki chirped in reply. I'll email you as soon as I'm done with things on my end. Oh, this is Minorikawa. I'll email you as soon as I'm done with things on my end, Minorikawa told her. Just use the DTP to slot your piece into the right spot in the layout. DTP is an abbreviation for desktop publishing. It refers to the process of editing a manuscript's layout on a computer preparatory to sending it to the printer. Preparatory to sending it to the print. Oh, okay. Oh, I see how that construction works now. Okay. Also used to refer to the software used for creating such layouts. Creating layout data that is ready for printing but has not actually been printed yet is also sometimes called DTP. Sure thing. Minorikawa hung up and then rolled up his sleeves. He sure was towing a pretty narrow line today. The Burning Hammer event had kept him a little longer than anticipated. Now he needed to clean up his copy as soon as possible in order to stick to his schedule. When he turned back toward his laptop, however, he froze with shock. What? His laptop monitor was still black, empty screen. There's no way it would take this long to finish booting up. Couldn't be. Oh no, don't let it be true. Had his computer decided to pick now, of all times, to give up the ghost? Minorikawa felt the blood drain from his face. He blows his cigar an anime protagonist? Yeah, he does. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. His laptop. Oh, no. Finish Minorikawa's block. So what do we got going on here? We're still at a keep out there. Tama, we're at a keep out as well. Achi we haven't touched yet, and Kano we're at a bad end. I think we check out Achi. The man with the cane crooked his finger on the trigger. Achi stepped in front of Hitomi, shielding her with his body. If you want to shoot her, you'll have to shoot me too. Suddenly, the assassin's head jerked forward. He pitched face first onto the pavement and lay still, revealing a foreign man standing behind him. In one hand, the stranger clutched a metal pipe. Hitomi, Achi asked. You know that guy? Hitomi's eyes went wide.
That's the man from the scramble. The one who told me to go to the van.
Wait, one of the kidnappers? Why would he help us?
I'm not sure.
The newcomer fixed his eyes on Achi. Hey, man, Achi approached the stranger. I'm not sure what's going on here, but thank you for the assist. Whoa! The man took a sudden swing with his pipe. Achi barely managed to dodge out of the way. What the hell? Once again, Achi made sure Hitomi was safely behind him. Guess I gotta let my fists do the talking. Achi quickly adopted a fighting stance.
Be careful,
Hitomi warned, her voice trembling. Don't worry, it's just a pipe. I'll just snatch it away from him and make him tell us where your sister is. Achi judged the distance between them carefully as he stared his opponent down. It was difficult to judge the distance because they were doing a close-up shot with a fisheye lens, but nonetheless. The metal pipe gave this thug considerable reach. One solid hit from that thing and Achi wouldn't stand a chance. He needed to end this in one punch! The crook sized him up for a few moments and then lunged forward to attack. Now! Achi sidestepped to avoid the incoming blow and then delivered a vicious left hook to his adversary's jaw. The man went down hard. Can we talk about Achi's pants for a moment? Like, all of Achi's outfit is just kind of ridiculous. Like, but the t-shirt, fine, whatever. The vest, okay, I guess. But the pants? Come on, man. Achi gazed at his fallen foe, flexing his knuckles. The thing about guys who bring weapons into fights is they always let themselves get too cocky. He looked the guy over. The man had a tattoo peeking from one of his ratty sleeves. Come on, Cloudy. Buddy, you can't clock out just yet, Achi said. It's not even a skull tattoo. It's a tattoo that just says skull. What the fuck does that mean? Get up, I got a few questions for you. He knelt down to grab the man by his collar. Halfway to his feet, the man pulled a gun from his breast pocket. Whoa, didn't know you were packing heat. Achi took a quick step backward. The man's eyes brimmed with rage. He looked ready to pull the trigger at any moment, but he didn't get the chance. Another assassin shows up and shoots him, and then... The man with the cane regained consciousness. Back on his feet, he retrained his own gun on the foreigner. The foreigner quickly shifted his attention to the other gunman. Oh, no, you don't. Achi darted forward and kicked the kidnapper in the hand as hard as he could. The gun went flying from his grasp. With a low snarl, the man took up the metal pipe again. Rather than go for Achi, however, he charged the man with the cane. What the? Achi watched in astonishment as the two men grappled. Now's our chance! Grabbing Hitomi by the hand, Achi broke into a run. He couldn't afford a full skull, so he had to budget it. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's like, okay, skull tattoo's a little passé, but I can at least understand it, like, from an artistic standpoint. A tattoo that just says skull? They ran for quite a long time, finally stopping to rest in a quiet municipal park. As they sat catching their breath, Achi sensed a new tension in Hitomi. She hadn't said a word since their latest escape. She has to die, Archie. It's for your own good. In his mind, Archie replayed what the man with the cane had said. So Hitomi, Archie hesitated, about what happened back there.
Yeah?
She sounded like she'd been far gone in her own thoughts. You gotta believe me. I have no idea who that guy was. I've never seen him before in my life. Must have been saying that stuff to confuse us, to trip us up.
Yeah?
Hitomi said again.
Is that what's been bothering you?
Huh? Now it was Archie's turn to go monosyllabic.
Well, Archie, you're kind of famous around Shibuya, right?
I don't know about that. Way back when, he'd been the leader of SOS. Nowadays, he was just some guy who picked up trash. That was nothing to brag about.
When someone's famous, it's not unusual for someone else to recognize them and know their name. So yeah, I was surprised back there, but no matter what that man may have said, I trust you. I mean, look at how many times you put yourself in danger to protect me.
Hitomi sounded pretty resolute. Archie was glad that she believed him, but that just raised another question. So then how come you've been so quiet?
I've just been thinking about things like what that man from the scramble might be after.
It was true that his actions didn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, he seemed more interested in taking out the man with the cane than going after you. Maybe there's bad blood between them, or maybe it's a case of mistaken identity. Maybe it was a case of mistaken identity.
You think so?
Hitomi said. She sounded doubtful, and Archie couldn't blame her. It did seem pretty unlikely. No, but for whatever reason, the foreigner had deliberately gone after the man with the cane, and it certainly hadn't been to rescue Archie and Hitomi. The enemy of one's enemy was not necessarily one's friend. The man with the cane and those foreigners, would Archie and Hitomi really be able to escape them all? And if they did, would they ever find Hitomi's sister? They heard a child cry out behind them. Turning to look, they saw the kidnapper rushing toward them. He had knocked over a little girl who was in his way. Oh, shit. No rest for the weary, Archie sighed. Yet again, he and Hitomi sprinted away.
Do you think he took out the guy with the cane?
Hitomi's words came between panting huffs. Maybe. Archie glanced back at their pursuer. What? There was someone else with him now. Now they were being chased down by two foreigners. I like this better when we were just running away from one guy with a cane. In a one-on-one fight, Archie was confident he could keep Hitomi safe. One-on-two, though, that was a different story. One guy might get a hold of her while he was facing off against the other. He had to make sure they lost these creeps no matter what. Well, all right then. Can we... No, that just goes back to Minorikawa there. Oh, we can jump from here. Because they're going to get lost in the street fight. God, trying to pick apart this plot sometimes and how everything fits together is... Whew. There we go. Got him. As luck would have it, they soon found a crowd in their path, backs turned toward them. Excited voices rose up from the throng. Well, what's the deal? Is something going on? It's a street fight! A fight, as the name implies, that takes place out on the street, typically using bare hands and no weapons. Even a bare-handed fight can result in serious injuries, though, which is why they are pretty illegal. Not just illegal, they're pretty illegal. Archie clutched Hitomi's hand good and tight. Whatever you do, don't let go! Without a moment's hesitation, he plowed his way through the crowd. Emerging on the far side of the gathering, Archie saw the main road ahead. Cars were zipping past in a steady stream. What do we do? Oh, look, it's the 109. Yeah, so this is just out of the scramble here. There were too many cars for them to rush across the street without getting hit. But they couldn't exactly just sit and wait for the light to change. and they certainly couldn't go back the way they came. Their pursuers were getting closer and closer. "Hitomi!" Archie shouted. "We're going across!"
What?
Dragging Hitomi by the hand, Archie darted out into the street. Moving purely by instinct, he wove his way through the gaps between the speeding cars. When they were halfway across, a car slammed on its brakes to keep from hitting them, causing several cars behind it to crash into one another. The multi-vehicle pileup plunged the roadway into total chaos. The result of this chaos, traffic in the nearby area, will be a standstill for a while. While on the way to the Syndicate hideout, Shinya Kano and Jack Stanley have gotten caught in this traffic jam. Excellent, so that unlocked that route. Pretty illegal in contrast to ugly illegal and adjacent to handsome illegal. Exactly. We'll click on that in a moment to get past the keep out. But in a matter of moments, the street was clogged with a long line of stopped vehicles. Archie and Hitomi's pursuers remained on the other side and did not pursue. Okay, that
was crazy.
Hitomi panted as she caught her breath. Well, you know what they say. Idle feet are the devil's playthings.
Hands, it's idle hands.
Whatever, at least they'd gotten away. Come on, let's go! Archie led the way down several twisting side streets before slowing his pace. By now, Hitomi was slumped and panting heavily. He wanted to give her some time to rest, but if they just hung around, their pursuers might still find them. He looked around and spotted a multi-tenant building. The nearest door was open. Bundles of flyers were set out near the entrance. Archie peeked inside and saw piles of plywood and painted lumber. It looked like this was a storeroom for theater, stage props, and scenery. We can hide out in here, he said.
But
Hitomi hesitated, but Archie gave her hand a little tug. It'll be fine. There's nobody around. Have fun suing me. I'm too fast, laughed Sonic. They stepped out inside the storeroom, and Archie quickly shut the door behind them. We should probably rest for a bit, he said. There was a wooden platform set up beside a large piece of plywood. Archie picked up a magazine that had fallen on the floor and spread it out atop the platform's dusty surface. Here, now you can sit without getting your clothes dirty.
Thank you.
Hitomi quietly took a seat. We should probably turn off our cell phones, Archie said. Could be really bad if they rang at the wrong moment. The two powered off their phones. Archie took a cursory look around. It didn't look like there was any way in or out besides the door that they'd come in through. There was a single window set in the wall, but it wouldn't open far enough to let them through. Ah! Oh, that's Hitomi. Ah! Hitomi let out a quiet gasp. Someone was outside the storeroom. Archie put her fingers to his lips, and Hitomi gave a fearful nod. The window's frosted glass blocked any real view in or out. So long as they stayed quiet, they ought to be safe. Whoever was outside pressed their face to the frosted glass, trying to get a glimpse inside. The blurry visage of the foreigner who'd attacked them was dimly visible. Like the man with the cane before him, this guy was quick to catch up. The man pounded on the glass. Archie swallowed the lump in his throat. If this guy got in, they had nowhere to run. Archie turned to Hitomi. We'll be fine here. Just sit tight. Hitomi clutched onto Archie's arm hard. Can I help you with something? Said a casual voice from outside. They saw their pursuer react at once, pulling back from the window. That's just our storeroom, you know, the voice added. Archie heard footsteps scampering away. The kidnapper had run off. Archie exchanged glances with Hitomi and let out a tiny sigh. There were more voices coming from outside now. What was up with that guy? I don't know. Yeah. Whatever, let's go and hurry and get stuff tidied up. Man, my throat's raw. Sounds like a conversation between two men. The storeroom door opened, and the men clomped their way inside. Tomonori Takaya and Taro Toga, two members of the theater troupe The Wandering Angels. Takaya is the Wandering Angels star actor, playing the lead role of Ryu in today's performance of Au Revoir, the troupe's 22nd piece. Last night he slept completely naked and caught a cold, leading to the sore throat he has now. Toga is in the stage director, handling things behind the scenes. He's very irritated that Shinichi Bando, in charge of the props, seems to have gone AWOL. Someone took knock-knock jokes too seriously. Little bit. So what are we getting? Let's grab all those folding chairs over there. Producer said we're going to need a lot more seats all of a sudden. Mr. Ori said that? Going out loud for the troops' last hurrah, huh? Beats me, man. In no real hurry, the men went about carting the folding chairs away. They didn't notice Achi and Hitomi sitting silently in the shadows. Not to change the subject, but how come we're using a dry ice machine and not a smoke machine? That's why my throat's bothering me? Yeah, it's pretty weird. Nobody's even operating it, and it's still drawing a ton of power. Think it's defective? Achi and Hitomi waited for the two men to finish up. If they were spotted, it would probably cause a scene, and worse still, it might alert the men who were hunting them. Once they had carried off the rest of the folding chairs, the men closed the storeroom door. The foreigner could still be somewhere nearby, though, so Achi decided they should hide out in the room a little longer. God, this blows. I want to get back out there to look for that blue van ASAP, but... Achi trailed off as something occurred to him. Wait a second. Now that's weird. Huh? Hitomi looked at him inquiringly. The kidnappers already have the ransom money, yeah? Achi said. That's right. And then they told you that your sister was in some blue minivan. Isn't that kind of weird? What do you mean? Did you figure that your sister was in the minivan by herself? Well, yeah. If one of the kidnappers were with her, they wouldn't need to send me to go get her. Right, Achi said. And yet the fact that as soon as the kidnappers had their money, they could have just let Hitomi's sister out of the vehicle and just run off. There was no point in sending Hitomi to fetch her personally. A look of revelation dawned on Hitomi's face. Oh! That minivan had already left Okazaka, she said. And it came back while we were there waiting for it, Achi finished. He thought back to his earlier run-in with the blue vehicle. So then inside that minivan, there had been a bunch of foreigners inside. Which meant the kidnappers didn't have any intention of giving her sister back. The more Achi thought about it, the less sense it made for them to send Hitomi to greet her. There had to be some other reason they wanted Hitomi to go to that minivan, but what was it? Do you think they were trying to kidnap me too? That's gotta be it! Achi clapped his hands together. Then they let your sister go and demand a ransom for you. Then make her try to deliver the ransom money for your release. You'll be able to get, like, infinite ransom money by constantly abducting one twin after the other. That seems a little far-fetched. Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Now that she'd said so, Achi realized that it was kind of a ridiculous idea. Still, what if the kidnappers really were trying to kidnap me? Hitomi said. Isn't like they accidentally abducted the wrong twin? I mean, I guess it would kind of be easy to botch up. I'm glad they wanted me specifically and not my sister. Hitomi paused briefly and thought. Maybe you're hotter than your sister or something? Achi suggested with enthusiasm and tact. Hitomi shook her head. Can't be it. If anything, it's the other way around. Compared to my sister, I'm just, Whoa, hey, stop right there. Achi had to interrupt her. You're not just anything. Please don't. I'm just... Tears had welled up in Hitomi's eyes. Why'd this have to happen to her? Why not me? Whoa, hey, come on. Don't cry. I'm sorry. Yo, cheer up. It's like that song says. Don't just stand there. Wipe those tears away. That one, you know it? Is that Aya Kamiki? Yeah, that's the one. Put your hand in mine. Every single bee's a light. Huh? You know, every single bee's a light. Infinite Random Money should be an experimental indie band specializing in 2-hour tracks. That sounds great. Hitomi let out a giggle. Everything will be all right. Huh? You got the lyrics wrong. It's everything will be all right. Oh, right, yeah. Guess that makes more sense, I guess. Achi's mouth curled into a sheepish smile. All right, I think we've laid low for long enough, Achi said at last. Think we should be on our way? He was about to get to his feet when he heard voices outside the storeroom again. Sounds pretty careless of us. Yeah, we definitely gotta watch it. Ugh. The theater guys from earlier had returned, and they sounded a bit panicked. Tomonori Takaya and Taro Toga, 2 members of the theater troupe, The Wandering Angels. Takaya is the Wandering Angels star actor, but lately, in addition to appearing on their stage, he's been taking on TV drama and film work as well. The next role he's slated for is Sun TV's upcoming suspense drama Sumo Queen 2, where he will play the referee who utters the bad line, "Looks like things are getting heavy," upon discovering a victim's dying message inscribed in one corner of the sumo ring. Heard folks have been messing with the storeroom a bunch lately. Did you hear who's behind it? Some juvenile delinquents. Gang? That takes me way back. All right, let's hurry on back. Achi rushed over to the door. He tried turning the knob, but the door wouldn't budge. "Oh, come on, are you freaking kidding me?" He paced frantically around the room, pulling at his hair. "We're locked in." And that door was the only way in or out. Achi and Hitomi were well and truly trapped inside the storeroom. "This is all my fault," Achi said. "It was my idea to hide out here in the first place." He bowed to Hitomi repeatedly. "We're never going to be able to find that blue minivan now."
"Guess we'll have to get someone on the outside to help us,"
Hitomi replied. She scowled thoughtfully. They powered their phones back on in order to call for help. The big question was who they could possibly ask. "Hitomi, anyone you could reach out to?"
Mr. Tanaka, I suppose?
"Tanaka, right." Suggestion didn't exactly thrill Achi. He had no idea what this Tanaka guy was like. Hopefully he was the dependable sort who'd actually show up to rescue them. But somehow that thought made Achi feel even worse. Achi had someone he figured he could call, but he hesitated, uncertain. There had been a time when he trusted this guy more than anyone. They bailed each other out of countless jams. Nowadays, though, things were different. Hitomi gave Achi a puzzled look as he sat, lost in thought. "Right, because they don't have much of a choice." Achi scrolled through his contacts list on his cell phone. He found a name he had thought he'd never call again. Susumu. Or Sasumu. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do. "Yo!" "Achi, is that you?" Susumu's voice was low and guarded. "Look, I got a favor to ask you. I'm in a real bind here." "Huh?" "Things are ridiculously bad. Thought maybe you could help me out a little bit." "You seriously thought I would help you?" Susumu's words were like ice. "You messing with me or something, man?" Now he sounded a touch angry as well. Painful memories flashed before Achi's eyes. "Right then, sorry to bug you. Just forget it." But Susumu hung up before Achi was even finished talking. "No dice," Achi said to Hitomi with a lopsided frown. She looked back at him, her expression a mirror of his own.
"What should we do?"
What should we do?"
"Guess we're back to Mr. Tanaka."
"I guess so. You want to go ahead then?" Still love that they made the game take place on April 28th. And that the timestamp on the phone is correct for the hour that this takes place in-game. Hitomi tried calling him repeatedly, but Tanaka didn't pick up.
"What could have happened?"
she muttered under her breath. "Think maybe the kidnappers found out that Mr. Tanaka and I have been in contact?" "Oh, no."
"Do you think that maybe the kidnappers found out that Mr. Tanaka and I have been in contact?"
Achi shrugged. It looked like they were just going to need to find some other way out of here on their own, and then maybe look for the minivan themselves. Achi strode over to the door and grabbed hold of the doorknob. He tried giving it a good, sturdy pull. "No good. The thing won't even budge."
"The door opens outward."
"Wait, really?" Achi tried giving it a push. It still didn't open. He kicked it. Oh! The door wasn't nearly as sturdy as Achi had expected. "I think I can make this work." He backed up to get a running start, and then kicked the door with all of his might. Yeah! The door went flying off its hinges. "Man, that was way too easy." Nice. Achi stepped cautiously out of the storeroom. So, low-key, the one subtle thing I enjoy about this game's portraiture so far is it takes a lot of the shots it does are like from above characters and above, facing down at the city streets, and that is just so unusual, such an unusual angle for a visual novel. I adore it. He quickly scanned the surrounding area. There was nobody in sight. "Looks like we're in the clear," he called, but Hitomi didn't come out, nor did she reply. "Hitomi!" She had her phone in hand, apparently still trying to get in touch with Tanaka. With a tiny sigh, Archie leaned against the wall and waited for her to finish. Well?
Doesn't look like I'm gonna have any luck,
she said. You know we can leave now, right? You still holding out hope for your Mr. Tanaka?
It's not that, it's just I'm a little worried.
Oh yeah? Okie dokie then, I'll just, wait out around here.
Okay, I'll be right with you.
Uh-huh. Archie shuffled his way back outside. Oh, crap. By the time Archie could finish processing the thought, he was already laid out on the ground. His jaw hit the asphalt hard, and he bit the tip of his tongue clean off. The taste of blood filled his mouth. A moment later, he took a sharp blow to the head. He was done for. All the energy drained from his body. His mind whirled. His vision grew hazy. He began to drift from consciousness. Back when he'd run with Susumu and the others, he'd never left himself exposed to a surprise attack. There were plenty of times when he'd taken a punch that sent him reeling only to spin away and come back swinging. This time, he hadn't even seen it coming. It was his last mistake. His pose? Yeah, his pose is real good. Guess I let myself go soft. Archie grimaced inwardly, muttering in a voice no one but he could hear. Hey, tell me, I'm so sorry. Bad end. Alright, so what's the hint on this one? Archie successfully managed to break out of the storeroom, only to be knocked out by the man with the cane while he waited for Hitomi. Things might have gone differently if Hitomi had managed to get in contact with Tanaka. Why hadn't he responded to her calls? Maybe something strange happened at the Osawa residence? Perhaps there was some reason he wasn't able to answer the phone. Interesting. Oh, so the Osawa one has been backed up now, so we have to do more over there. I see. And Kano is now free as well. All right. Let's take a quick break. I'm going to go use a little streamer's room. While I'm gone, everyone, make sure you stand up and walk around for a bit, drink some water, and eat some food. Take your meds if you haven't yet. All those little things you got to do to take care of you today. I'll be back in about 10, and when I do, I guess we'll do Tanaka's route for a little bit. Looks like a platform protagonist that died and fell into the side. Yeah, he does. guess who's back? It's me, I'm back. How's everyone doing? Unfortunately, my poor sleeping habits have continued to catch up with me, but that's fine. We're going to power through and go for a little while longer. Because I want to play more of this game. Alright, let's do Kano's route, since Kano's route is now going to be much different. The car moved at a glacial pace toward the crime syndicate's hangout. Stanley pounded his fists on the steering wheel in frustration. They had no sooner set out than the traffic slowed to a near standstill. Despite the occasional lurch, it never crept up above a crawl. Kano stewed in the passenger seat. The case was rapidly getting out of hand. Now he had to worry about the safety of both Maria and her sister Hitomi. Never mind the fact that Detective Tateno had also gone missing. There were too many unknowns, too many uncertainties, and his unease was growing unbearable. Also, Tateno hasn't radioed in, and, we can't reach him from our end either. Kuze's words kept echoing inside Kano's head. What could have caused Tateno to drop out of contact? Someone had gone after Hitomi while Kano and the others were busy trailing the attaché case. Could Tateno have been... No, it couldn't be. Kano was sure that Tateno would have done whatever was necessary to keep Hitomi safe. Stanley broke the long silence. What's on your mind? Still thinking about that call from Kuze? Kano didn't answer. Look, if you're worrying about that other detective, the guy couldn't even protect one girl, Stanley continued. Not exactly a ringing endorsement. Don't you talk about Detective Tateno that way. I'm concerned about Hitomi Osawa, but the missing attaché case needs to come first. Stanley's expression remained stone cold. Kano flashed him a sidelong glare and then went back to staring out the window. A moment later, a flurry of motion in a nearby alley caught his eye. With a start, he recognized Sasayama. His fellow detective was caught up in an altercation with a man in dark clothes. Kano sprang into action, his body moving almost before his mind registered the situation. Sasayama! Flinging the door open, he leapt out of the car. Hey, wait! Stanley called after him, but Kano was already sprinting toward the fight. Ugh! The other man knocked Sasayama onto a pile of garbage. As Sasayama struggled to get back onto his feet, his opponent looked down at him with a triumphant sneer. Kano finally got a good look at the man, and his eyes flashed with recognition. It was the perp who'd first taken the attaché case back while at the scramble. Tariq al-Karawan. You! Kano growled. He sped like a bullet to tackle al-Karawan around the legs. But al-Karawan had nimbly stepped aside. Kano's arms closed in on nothing but air. At the same moment, al-Karawan deftly wrapped an arm around Kano's neck. Kano felt a vice-like pressure on his carotid artery. A move known as the front choke sleeper hold. Constricting the carotid artery stops blood flow to the brain, causing the opponent to lose consciousness, also known as a guillotine choke. His consciousness quickly began to slip away. Oh, no, you don't, you bastard, he snarled, lowering his center of gravity. He got a hold of one of al-Karawan's legs and used his shoulder as a fulcrum against it. Nah! Despite the arm still crushing his neck, Kano managed to lift his opponent high into the air. Continued with the movement to heave al-Karawan up and over himself, slamming him upside down into the heap of trash. Stanley strolled up to the aftermath of the struggle. Well, you've got the brawn part down, he said. Need some work on the brains. Al-Karawan was sprawled out atop the mound of refuse. He'd been knocked out cold. Sasayama coughed and sputtered. Kano went to help him to his feet, but Stanley stepped in between them. What are you doing? Stanley asked. Helping Sasayama. What does it look like? We need to apprehend al-Karawan first. He's not even conscious. Sasayama can come first. He pushed Stanley aside and crouched down alongside his partner. Are you all right? He asked. Yeah, Sasayama groaned. You bailing me out, though? Can't let the missus know about that. Mum's the word, Kano said. He slipped an arm underneath Sasayama and helped him to his feet. I managed to find the guy who had the attaché case, Sasayama said, but when I tried to arrest him, this fella came out of nowhere and attacked me. He flashed Al-Karawan a nasty look. So here we go again, disobeying direct orders, Stanley huffed. What is the deal with Japanese police anyway? He shook his head in exasperation. Sasayama gave Kano a puzzled look, jerking his thumb at the American. Who's this guy? It's a long story, Kano said. He filled Sasayama in on the situation. Enough chit-chat. Hurry up and cuff this guy, Stanley said. Kano knelt down by Al-Karawan's unconscious body, flipped him over, and proceeded to cuff his hands behind his back. Huh? Kano paused. Al-Karawan's sleeve had slid back from his wrist. What is this? The unconscious man had a tattoo of a two-headed scorpion on his left forearm. Stanley strode over. Did you find something? He asked. Yes, I think this guy might be the ringleader. Seeing the image had reminded Kano of something he'd heard back at headquarters, that the head of the foreign syndicate had a scorpion tattoo. He relayed this information to Stanley. I see. Stanley called up Kuze on his cell. You'll be happy to know the guy with the attaché case is still at large, he said. Apprehending the ringleader at this point shouldn't be an issue. One of your so very capable subordinates gave us a big step forward in the case here. Wait a second, Sasayama murmured. That was sarcasm, wasn't it? Stanley hung up and called over to him. Think you can escort this guy back to the precinct? Yeah, sure, seeing how very capable I am. Kano felt his phone vibrate. The display showed an incoming call from Rumi. Hello? He answered warily, keeping his voice down. Stanley had him a little on edge. It's me. It was Shizuo. Oh, it's me. It's me. Damn it, Kano thought. He did not have time for this right now. But if he just hung up, he might be even deeper hot water. Kano. Let's listen to what the old man has to say. Kano decided he'd better listen to what the old man had to say. I'm afraid I'm not really at liberty to take a personal call right now, even if it is from my father-in-law. He did his best to sound apologetic. I'm not your father-in-law. Yes, of course. Sorry, sir. He bowed his head reflexively, feeling like an idiot. You really don't give a damn about keeping me waiting like this, do you? Sir, I swear to you, I feel terrible. Please, I just... Flustered, he took a deep breath and recomposed himself. I promise you, sir, I promise I'll be there if you could just wait a little while. Don't make promises you can't keep. Shizuo's barking rebuke made Kano break out into a sweat. You think I'm going to let you off the hook just because you are working a case? This is exactly why I don't want my daughter with some detective. Great, another angry tirade. But didn't you used to be a detective, sir? Kano muttered. You watch yourself, you little brat. It's not enough that you keep calling me your father-in-law, but now you have to bring that up? Evidently, Kano had touched a raw nerve. Seemed like anything he said only made matters worse. Ever have a dentist hit a nerve while drilling a tooth? That's where this expression comes from. Well, you're not off the hook, Shizuo continued. I am never letting my daughter marry the likes of you. His fury hitting its crescendo, Shizuo promptly hung up. Why on earth did Shizuo hold such intense malice towards police detectives when he'd been one himself? Kano had become a detective for Rumi's sake in the first place, and now it was the biggest thing holding him back. Shit, I just realized I poured myself a glass of water and then I neglected to bring it over here, and now I want water, so I'm going to go grab that real quick. Oh yeah, that's some good H2O. Hey, come on, let's go. Stanley's voice snapped Kano out of his daze. Ugh. Grimly, he followed the American back to the car. The cop to ACAB pipeline, we love to see it. You know what? I suppose that's the best way that could turn out, isn't it? Yet again, Stanley was thumping the steering wheel in frustration. Traffic hadn't let up one bit. It was starting to look like they might never make it to the foreign syndicate's hangout. Kano caught sight of a girl in a hoodie weaving her way between the stopped cars on foot. He rolled down the window and called out to her. Miku Morita, was a fighter at the cosplay fighting pub Bride, but just decided to retire after losing to Tamba the cat in a street fight. She's thinking about what to do with herself now. Excuse me, miss, did something happen?
Huh? What do you mean?
Well, with the road, I mean. What's with all the traffic?
Oh, right. Apparently there was some big accident over by the train station. That's probably what's causing it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think you guys are going to be going anywhere for quite a while.
She smiled and went on her way. Stanley gave the steering wheel another punch. Well, I guess they did say this wasn't just some typical ransom case, he muttered. Kano saw an opportunity. If they're not after the money, then what are they after? Stanley kept his eyes forward, acting as if he hadn't heard. Look, Kano said, I can't help you if you keep me out of the loop. After a few moments of thought, Stanley replied with a single monosyllable. Drugs. What? Maria's father, Kenji Asawa. I assume you're aware he works for Okoshi Pharmaceutical? I am. Nothing's been made public yet, but Osawa recently oversaw the development of a new drug. It's not at all uncommon for a new drug to be in development for 15 years or more, with expenses totaling 20 to 30 billion yen before it is approved. Worldwide demand and sensational profits can be expected if a groundbreaking medicine is developed. Nonetheless, pharmaceutical companies are often under major pressure due to the tremendous cost of labor and equipment. And someone is trying to get their hands on it. Kano's mind latched onto this new information, trying to assemble the pieces of an evolving puzzle. Someone who? An international criminal mastermind. This foreign syndicate really is merely a tool in someone else's game. Kano regarded Stanley's face carefully. He looked more cold and serious than ever. So wait, does that mean that the reason we're letting the syndicate walk around unfettered is on my orders? Yes. I see. So the only thing you're really concerned with is catching this international mastermind? Precisely. Kano felt like he was starting to get a picture of what sort of person Stanley was. So you don't really care what happens to the girl who's been abducted, do you? Not particularly, no. Why? Do you have a problem with that? Kano clenched his fist. His hand was shaking with anger. Dictum number 8. When you really want to punch something, you really probably shouldn't. Kano recited the words inwardly like some sort of desperate mantra. If he didn't manage to calm himself down, he was liable to slam his fist right into Stanley's face. Outside the car, the traffic remained at a standstill. Kano chafed against a feeling of utter futility. One after another, his uncertainties came to nag at him. Was Maria still safe? What had happened to Hitomi and Tateno, her bodyguard? And now, on top of all this, it struck Kano as rather careless to send Sasayama away with Al Karawan without any backup, now that Jack had alerted him to the presence of a dangerous international mastermind still on the loose. Fighting back his fit of pique, Kano got out his cell phone. A fit of pique is to do something impulsively out of irritation, resentment, or the like, similar to doing something in a huff. Let's call Sasayama. He dialed up Sasayama. He wanted to make sure his partner had gotten Al Karawan back to the precinct safely. Sasayama picked up almost right away. Kano, what's up? How are things on your end? Any problems getting Al Karawan back? Now I've got Tateno taking care of him. Wait, what? Kano could hardly believe his ears. You were in touch with Tateno? He asked. You could hear the shock in his own voice. Yeah, just bumped into him over by the precinct a little while ago. Then he is safe. Kano felt a surge of relief. What about Hitomi then? Stanley glanced over at him, curious. Tateno says he lost track of her somehow, and then he got called back to the precinct, apparently. Tateno had lost track of her. That's not like him, Kano thought. Since he was heading back there anyway, I handed over our guy to him, Sasayama said. I see. Kano was glad to hear that Tateno was all right, but his relief was tempered by a surge of anger at the thought of what had happened to Hitomi. Now I'm back on to telling the attaché case, Sasayama continued. Today's my wife's birthday, you know. My plan is to wrap this thing up ASAP so we can celebrate tonight. I've already got a present and everything. I envy you, man. Closing his eyes, Kano took a moment to picture Rumi. But Shizuo's face popped into his mind's eye right alongside her. Well, let's hang in there, buddy, even if your girlfriend is just a picture of Masami Nagahama. A Midoriyama Academy graduate and national celebrity. Her popularity shows no signs of slowing down after she played the female lead in such films as The Beast That Hoarded Gold at the Heart of the World. What? And The Swidden Fortress. Oh, I see. There's another nationally famous actress with the same name, but it is a nationally known fact that the two are completely separate people. Got it. I get it. Okay. Still snickering, Sasayama hung up. Kano bit his lip and slipped his phone back into his pocket. The legally distinct personality. At long last, traffic began to move again. Almost as soon as it did, however, Stanley had to slam on the brakes. The abrupt stop made Kano smack his head against the windshield. Hey, what gives? Luck, Stanley said. He gestured with his chin. Kano couldn't believe his eyes. There, walking along the sidewalk ahead, was Al Karawan, very much not in custody. What the hell? Kano shouted, already hopping out of the car. Stanley was right behind him. They crept upon their target as silently as possible and then rushed him once they were close. Man, Al Karawan's not having a good day, huh? In a moment, they had subdued him. Kano used his own body weight to hold Al Karawan down. What are you doing out here? He demanded. Oh, okay, you guess you didn't get the memo, huh? Al Karawan flashed a coy grin. They let me go. Let you go? I think your buddy here might have hearing problems, Al Karawan said to Stanley. I'm a free man. Kano turned and glared at Stanley. What is he talking about? No idea. First things first, get this guy back to the precinct. I'll head to the syndicate hangout by myself. You don't think this is weird? Kano asked. I mean, what the heck is this guy doing on the loose again? What matters is that he is free. Maybe he's telling the truth about being let go. But that's ridiculous. And then I guess he must have escaped on his own, Stanley replied. In either case, your buddy screwed up royally. Now it is on you to unscrew things. None of this sat right with Kano, but the fact remained that he couldn't just let Al Karawan go. He gave Stanley detailed directions to the hangout, and the car sped away towards Yoyogi. Then Kano headed back to the precinct with his captive, trying to reassure himself that he might learn something from questioning Al Karawan that could help resolve the case. Kano sat opposite Al Karawan in the interrogation room. He'd been attempting to interview the suspect for about a quarter of an hour. Al Karawan sat ramrod stiff, not responding to any prompts nor questions. What time is it right now? He asked. They'd taken away his watch, his wallet, a small knife, and his keychain. This was the third time he'd asked to know the time. Why are you so concerned with what time it is? Kano asked. Al Karawan gave no reply. Are you waiting on something? Again, the suspect was staunchly silent. Kano wasn't sure what to make of this, but he took a look at his watch. It is around 2 o'clock, he said. What time exactly? It is 2:18. 2:18 in how many seconds? Look, just cut the crap. Kano grabbed the prisoner by the collar. What the hell are you people after? Al Karawan merely repeated his question. What time is it right now? With a growl of aggravation, Kano shoved his wristwatch in Al Karawan's face. It's 2:20, Al Karawan said. Okay then, that should do it. What does that mean? The interrogation went on for several more hours. Hold on. Despite Kano's best efforts, however, Al Karawan said nothing more. During all that time, the case continued to develop in unexpected ways, but Kano, stuck in the interrogation room, knew nothing about it until everything was already over and done. I don't know why it keeps like fading out colorly like that. I don't know what's going on with that, but Kano performed admirably in recapturing Tariq Al Karawan. Ironically, his action actually disrupted the investigation. Letting the syndicate run free for the time being really was the right call. Someone can do something at 1340 that throws a wrench into Kano's activities, makes the involvement of unrelated parties. Okay, so someone can do something at 1340. Hachi is different. What's different over here? Okay, so this is all the same. But it backtracked us, so something must have changed. So what's different here? It's gonna be, we're gonna have to catch up for a little bit here, but because they're gonna have the whole conversation about who they call, who they want to call. Oh, hold on, this is different. Oh, Hitomi chirped.
That's me.
She took a look at the LCD display.
It's an email from Mr. Tonica.
Okay. Hitomi began typing out a response with the practiced ease. More wild delusions rose in Achi's mind. Ideas or fantasies conjured up in one's mind with no logical or factual basis. People can become deluded for varying reasons about a whole host of different subjects. Thankfully, Achi's delusions here are of an ultimately harmless sort. I see. Stealing a quick glance at Hitomi, he noticed her gazing happily at her phone's screen. His delusions ran even more wild. Achi, my dude, you gotta settle down. While he was still fretting furiously, Hitomi finished typing her response. So, what'd you end up saying? Achi asked.
I explained the situation.
That we're trapped in a storeroom, you've got some guys chasing after you, and you're looking for some van?
Yep. I also asked him to please keep this a secret from my family and the police.
Whoever this Tonica guy was, Hitomi sure seemed to put a lot of trust in him. A short while later, Hitomi's phone chimed with a reply. She checked the screen in a flash out of eagerness. Achi couldn't help but ask, so what's the Tonica guy have to say? A hint of jealousy slipped into his voice.
He says he's going to try to find the minivan for us.
Huh? If he just comes in and lets us out, I can go look for it myself.
He says he wants us to hide out here a little longer.
Oh, what the hell? Seriously? I, too, imagine my crush with the fantasy man recreating a smut scene I've read on Wattpad. Exactly. Yeah, that sounds about right. Someone's after me. It's safer to...
He says if someone's after me, it's safer to stay where we are.
Yeah, I'm out of the running, Achi thought to himself. This Tonica was clearly pretty concerned for her, and there was really only one reason for a middle-aged man to think like that. All right, fine. We'll wait. Achi turned his own phone off and then slumped back in a huff. After 20 more minutes in the storeroom, the two of them were sitting in silence. Achi had run out of things to talk about. Do you think you'll ever be friends again? You and that one guy. Oh, this is her.
Do you think you'll ever be friends again? You and that one guy, Susumu, I think it was?
Hitomi's question caught Achi off guard. He stammered, unsure how to respond. Hitomi shook her head.
I'm sorry. I barely know you. That was insensitive of me.
No, it's all right. I mean, sometimes I wish things could go back to the way they used to be, Achi said. He let out a tiny sigh. What that Kiryu guy said was the truth. I was the guy who founded SOS. Do you know what I mean by that? Hitomi gave a slight nod. I never wanted to be in charge of a gang or anything, but I knew that if I left, SOS would just fall apart, and I didn't want everyone else to get all caught up over who would take my place, you know? So I thought long and hard about it, looking for a way for folks to stay friends even after I was gone. The loud voice echoed through the pool hall that served as SOS's HQ. What do you mean you're leaving? Susumu was positively red in the face. You're a founder, Achi. You can't just up and quit. Susumu had been almost like a younger brother to Achi. If anyone's going to try to stop him, Achi knew full well it would be Susumu. Look, I'm not gangling your material. All I'm trying to do is make sure we're all able to have fun. That's not true, Susumu said. Think about all that stuff you taught us. Don't you remember? Every man gets to make one request in his life that cannot be denied. Those are your words, Achi. Did I say that? It's the heaviest thing you've ever said. Then to Archie's consternation, Susumu got down on his hands and knees. I'm begging you, please don't leave. Without you, SOS is nothing. Archie could feel his conviction waver. I'm begging you here from one man to another. This is my one request. Susumu, I'm sorry. Archie could barely croak out the words. I'm leaving you in charge. You can't, Susumu pleaded. Please don't say that. Archie turned his back to him in silence. Please, Archie, why won't you listen? I can't possibly beg any harder than this. Enough with all the request nonsense, Archie grimaced. What? Looking you down on your hands and knees. Pathetic. Ultimately stems from the Greek pathetikos, meaning subject to feeling or capable of emotion. Over time, the meaning changed to signify exciting the passions, and later on to the more modern sense of arousing one's pity. Archie spoke harshly, as he could, fighting to mask his true feelings. I'm fed up with you. I'm fed up with all of you. With each word out of his mouth, Archie could feel his own heart breaking, but if he could make the others hate him, at least it would give SOS a reason to stay together. How can you say that? Don't you try to pull that crap. Susumu's tone had changed from sadness to anger. Fine then, he railed. I'm never asking you for anything ever again. I'll do what you want. I'll take on the reins of SOS. Archie walked away, waving vaguely without looking back. Good luck. I mean it. Once he'd stepped out of the pool hall, he wiped his sleeve across his face, came away wet with tears. Sometimes I think that maybe I could apologize to those guys and we could go back to the good old days again, but it's never gonna happen. Not unless Suzune gets better. He stared into the distance at nothing in particular. At least he sorted out how he felt about his former pals. Is there nothing that can help your sister? Hitomi asked. She needs a heart transplant. The problem with heart transplants is that the timing is tricky. The act of surgically implanting one person's heart into another's body. Such an operation is typically only performed on a patient with severe heart disease who cannot survive without a new heart. There are strict requirements that must be met before a heart can be transplanted, however, chief among them that the donor must be first brain dead. Even if there's a donor available, the transplant has to be performed within 4 hours or things get dicey. Because the lack of oxygen causes damage referred to as warm ischemia damage in any organ removed from a human body, a transplant must be carried out and blood circulation restored within a certain time window, known as the total ischemic time. In case of a heart transplant, the total ischemic time is only 4 hours. Helicopters and charter jets are frequently used to rapidly transport hearts for such operations. Wow, I didn't realize. Someone with a heart that's a match for Suzune would need to die somewhere near her. Somewhere they could perform the surgery within the 4-hour window. Odds of that happening are so small it would almost be a miracle. Which is what my sister's been waiting for. Archie thumped the left side of his chest. My heart would do the trick. I'd gladly let her have it. Damn it! I've got a strong heart, too. He thumped himself on the chest again and again. He didn't mention it to Hitomi, but Suzune's blood type made finding her a heart transplant even more difficult. She had Bombay blood. A type of blood that does not correspond to the more common types of A, B, O, or AB. In some instances, a standard blood typing yields a result of O in such individuals. First discovered in the city of Bombay, now Mumbai, on India's west coast. The blood type takes its name from that city due to its relatively high incidence rate amongst the inhabitants. I did not know that was a thing. I'm going to look that up later. It was one of the rarest blood types in the world. Apparently there are only a few dozen people in all of Japan who had it. Rare blood types such as Bombay are scarce enough that even nationwide blood centers seldom have them in sufficient supply. For this reason, when such blood types are discovered in everyday testing, samples are quickly taken to be frozen and stored at temperatures lower than 80 degrees below centigrade. If Suzune were ever to receive a heart transplant, it would need to be from someone who also had Bombay blood. Hachi. Hitomi sounded like she was on the verge of tears. Wow, she must really feel bad for Suzune. If you did manage to find a heart for your sister, what would you do? What do you mean? If you happened across someone who was a donor match. I would do anything. Anything? Yeah. Whatever it took. I'd risk my own life if it meant helping Suzune. And I mean that. At that point, I'd assume God had granted me a miracle or something, you know?
Mr. Tanaka?
Unfortunately for these two, it's not Mr. Tanaka. Right now, Tanaka is at the Osawa residence on his way to speak with Kenji Osawa, who's washing dishes after lunch. Finally, we can break this one open. Director, if you have a moment? Tanaka poked his head into the kitchen. I've got something urgent to discuss with you. Yes, of course. Osawa took the bug tracker from his pocket and handed it back to Kajawara. I won't be needing this anymore. As soon as they had left the kitchen, Tanaka leaned in close and whispered to him, I got an email from Hitomi. He showed his cell phone to Osawa. Also, I know they only there's so much you can do with the exterior shots, but the interior shots at this dude's mansion are always like spot on. Perfect lighting, perfect framing. It's like I'm blown away by it.
Looks like my sister's being held captive in a blue minivan somewhere in Shibuya. That man is still chasing me, so I can't really go looking for it.
A blue minivan? Allow me to handle this, sir. I'll figure something out. Osawa knew he trusted Tanaka for a reason. Thank you, he said with a bow. Oh, you wouldn't happen to know any place she might have gone, do you, sir? What? Just that all she's told me is that she's been moving around. I'm sorry, I don't really have any idea, Osawa replied. He was ashamed to say it, but there wasn't a single place he knew of where his daughter might be inclined to go. I see. Tanaka, picking up on his discomfort, was visibly embarrassed himself. He hastened to change the subject. By the way, how did your talk with Mr. Makino go? I confirmed that he was behind the human testing, but I don't know who sent me those emails. Tanaka paused for a moment in thought, looking like he might have a hunch. All right, then, he said. We'll have to talk in more detail later. And with that, the assistant director headed for the front door. Mr. Osawa? Kajawara spoke from the kitchen door. Peeping in on me again, huh? Osawa grumbled. Thankfully, it didn't appear that the detective had overheard his conversation with Tanaka. And good grief, that thing is noisy. If it's broken, why don't you just throw it out? The sounds from the bug tracker grew fainter and fainter. Something wasn't right, Osawa now realized. Mr. Osawa, Kajawara said. This is my bug tracker. So? Osawa huffed. What I mean is, sir, this one isn't broken. What? A chill ran up Osawa's spine. He swallowed audibly. I've pinpointed the source of the signal, Kajawara said. It's coming from Mr. Tanaka. No, Osawa thought. I must have misheard that. Hold on, say that again? I've located the source of the signal. It's coming from Mr. Tanaka, the detective repeated. And this time Osawa heard him crystal clear. I'm certain of it. Mr. Tanaka has a listening device on him. Osawa felt the blood draining from his face. If someone had been listening in on the conversation just now, then they'd heard about the email from Hitomi. If the kidnappers were the ones listening, that meant Maria's life was now in danger. I'll go after him, sir. Kajawara broke into a sprint. Osawa followed close behind. Damn! To be continued. All right, so let's try this again. Hitomi's voice was barely a squeak. For a moment, all was silent. Maybe it's just a cat, Achi suggested. Or not. Can't believe that's what causes us to jump over here.
Sales demo's over, and against all odds, I managed to get paid. Money clutched in one paw, I head to the knick-knack shop to finally buy that necklace I can't stop thinking about. Hello? Is there anyone here? I call out. There's no reply, though. The shopkeeper out?
Just a moment.
Panting, the sales clerk comes scurrying into the shop behind me.
Sorry about that. Just had to pop out for a sec. You would not believe what I just saw.
He leans against a pillar, gasping audibly as he tries to catch his breath.
You hear about that necklace?
Do you still have it?
Of course.
Thank you so much. I have half the money here. The rest is in my, Oh. I suddenly remember something very important. Oh, no. The sales clerk gives me a curious look.
What's the matter?
My wallet, it's still in here. I pat the costume around the tummy.
Why don't you just take the outfit off?
Well, I mean, zipper's kind of broken. I wouldn't be having all this trouble if I could just get out of this darn costume.
Kind of broken. It's way more broken than that.
Sales clerk points me to a full body mirror. He's right. The zipper and back is hanging open. Taking this thing off will be a cinch now. Oh, thank you. I give him a bow.
I'm not sure you need to be thanking me, he says.
No, I do. If you hadn't pointed that out, I might have let myself stay stuck in here forever. So really, thank you so much.
Tama face reveal? It's it switched over to FMV? Just for the Tama face reveal. Did I call it or did I call it? I think I called it. Pretty sure I called it. Wow, caught in 4K. Wait, was I right? Damn, I can't believe that is the first, aside from the opening credits, that is the first time they used FMV in this entire game, and they make it worth it. All right. Suddenly, someone hit the door hard. It sounded like they were trying to break the lock. You really think that's Tonica? Archie asked.
I'm not sure. If it were him, I'd think he'd probably say something.
Archie grabbed Hitomi's hand. We better hide. The two of them slipped behind a large piece of plywood stage dressing. That was oddly satisfying to finally see Tama, right? Holy shit. The door swung open with a loud creak. In stepped the man with the cane. What the heck? Archie whispered. What's he doing here? A gun drawn, the assassin prowled slowly around the storeroom. Archie and Hitomi crouched behind the plywood prop, trying not to make a sound. The man moved out of their line of sight. Archie gazed longingly at the door. Archie risked a peek around the corner of the plywood. He still couldn't see the man with the cane. The door was maybe 5 meters away. What should they do? Good chance she's Maria and not a secret third sister. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is that it's the sister that we presumed has currently been kidnapped, but they actually don't have, and now she has amnesia and doesn't know what she's doing. So that's my call. They need to wait for a safer chance to escape. Archie heard the sound of a cell phone vibrating from behind a tall piece of plywood leaning by the door. The assassin stepped out from behind it. He still hadn't spotted his quarry. I'm sure this is the place. His voice was low and confident. Did he have friends? Bye-bye, Cathead. We'll miss you. I know. Rip to the Cathead, but I'm different. Still clutching his phone, the assassin wandered deeper into the storeroom. Archie and Hitomi took the opportunity to slip out the door. Also, I bet it's gonna stay on for the rest of Tama's route, because it's gonna turn out they're gonna realize quickly that she looks exactly like someone who's a kidnapped victim. They ran through the alleyways back toward the main road. Before they reached it, however, they suddenly found their path cut off by one of the foreigners who chased them earlier, the accomplice of the man with the pipe. He stood waiting for them, holding a knife in one hand. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. If they turned back, Archie knew the man with the cane might catch up with them, and he had a gun. Archie slipped off his sleeveless jacket and wrapped it around his left arm. Archie's a lefty, huh? He was going to have to use his left arm to guard against the knife while punching with his right hand. He clenched his fist and braced himself. And then suddenly, he froze. Ah! A small dark silhouette dropped from somewhere up above. Landing deftly, the newcomer lunged toward the man with the knife, closing the gap between them in the blink of an eye. Ah! The figure delivered a swift chop to the back of the man's neck. He dropped to the pavement like a dead man, finally giving Archie a clear view of the shadow behind him. Who the hell is this? Archie couldn't believe his eyes. It was a small-statured young woman with Middle Eastern features. The cat hat stays on.
You mean for the rest of the route? You mean for the rest of the route, right?
And Tommy let out a small gasp. Who the fuck is this?
Kanon?
What the fuck? Oh, shit's getting real. Someone can do something at 1340 that throws a wrench into Kano's activities. Okay, so 1340. I guess of the two options, let's try Tama's first.
It's time I skin this cat. We need to get rid of this costume, whatever it takes.
The exact origin of the phrase, "there's more than one way to skin a cat," is uncertain and a matter of some dispute, though it appears to have arisen in the latter portion of the 19th century. It's hard to imagine why anyone would want to conjure up such a gruesome mental image. Have you heard of Kanon before now? Not to my knowledge, no. That name is coming out of nowhere to me.
Take a hold of the head in both hands and yank it upward as hard as I can. Oh, please tell me I'm matching things. That feels a whole lot looser than it did before. If I give it a good enough push, then maybe. Yeah. It comes right off. I did it. I slipped out of the rest of the cat costume and gleefully abandoned it as I head for the knick-knack shop.
Now we gotta keep out. What? Well, it changed. No, it didn't change the bad end. What did it change? It changed Archie's to be continued. Huh. I don't get it. So why is this different now? Huh, okay. So yeah, heart transplant stuff again. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Thump the left side of your chest, buddy. Okay. This is all the same so far. Okay. Why are you making us replay this part, game? This is all the same. Okay, so she's getting the call from... Oh. So this breaks this one open now, too? Okay. Wait, don't tell me you're going to give me another keep out again, right? Then what was the point? Ugh, this game confounds me sometimes. Okay. So this is still all the same. The doorknob rattled ominously. You really think that's Mr. Tonica? Achi asked. I'm not sure if it were... Oh, right, this is all the same. And then the door swung open with a loud creak. In stepped a cat. Oh, it's just a kitty cat. A giant kitty cat walking upright. Achi and Hitomi stared in confusion as someone in a cat costume slipped into the room. There was something vaguely sinister about the fuzzy figure. Just to mess with you for the deferring her too soon? Maybe. I don't know. The cat had both hands stuffed into its pockets and shuffled as it walked, dragging one leg. You think that's someone with the theater troupe? Achi whispered. Maybe? The two huddled in the shadows, pressed almost cheek to cheek. They watched as the cat rifled around inside one of its pockets and then pulled something out. It was a bundle of keys. No doubt the ones it had used to get inside. Achi's eyes fixed on the furry mitt that held them. It was stained dark red. That could only be one thing. Blood. In that moment, Achi finally realized just what was going on. That's no theater guy. It was the assassin. He'd used the cat suit to slip past the theater people and had somehow gotten his hands on the storeroom keys. Then he tossed the keys away, then delicately adjusted the costume's wobbly head. Tell me we gotta run. Huh? And Tommy seemed frozen, mesmerized. The cat turned directly toward them. The fur around its mouth was stained crimson. Hitomi let out a high-pitched cry of shock. The cat drew its other hand out of its pocket.
Merry Christmas, motherfuckers!
Clutched in its mitt was a gun. Achi and Hitomi had nowhere to run. Nowhere to hide. Wow. Okay, yeah, we do get punished for defurrying her too early. So it must be the other decision point then. Okay, so... Huh. Okay, that is just it. So there's a keep out here, but there's no way to get past it. Okay, so Tama cannibal arc. Wow. Well, no, she's a cat. It's fine. All right, so let's fast forward past here. Oh, and now her thing says Maria instead of Tama. It even confirms it right here on the screen. It now says Maria instead of Tama. Holy shit. That's cool. Okay, so that's all the same now. So who else has a decision point at 1340? Minorikawa does. Okay, I guess this changes things here? Nothing really came to mind. It was about time to wrap this up. Thank you for your time, Mr. Yanagashita. If you'll excuse me, though, I have to get to another interview. Of course, allow me to walk you out. Yanagashita rose to his feet as Minorikawa got up to leave. Oh, that won't be necessary. It's no trouble, I'm heading out now myself. Gotta run before those guys show up. What guys do you mean? Oh, nobody. It's a personal thing is all. They parted ways outside the building, and Minorikawa headed off to the cafe to put his article together. So the whole big moving thing where Yanagashita has a... Oh. Right, okay, this is the same now. Let's see if this changes things. That did change things with Kano, yes. Okay. So now we can go to Kano. Okay, I don't know why that changed things, but getting us out on the street sooner, but at long last the traffic began to move again. Almost as soon as it did, however, Stanley had to slam on the brakes. I see. A frantic-looking man had jumped out in front of the car. Whoa, hey, what the hell are you doing? Kano sputtered. The stranger plastered his face against the passenger side window. Open up! He shouted. Open the door! The guy showed every sign of a total panic. Junichi Yanagashita, something happened just after he parted ways with Minorikawa, and now he's running this way and in quite a panic at that. Don't do it, Stanley warned. Kano hesitated. It wasn't like they could just drive off with this fellow clinging to the car. Please, you gotta help me! The man slipped his fingers through the gap in the window, trying to force it further open. Help me! Whoa, hold on. What's your deal? Help me! Sir, just tell me what... Help me! Look, up ahead, Stanley exclaimed suddenly. Kano whipped his head around. There, walking along the sidewalk ahead, was Al Karawan, very much not in custody. What the hell? Kano tried to jump out of the car, but the frantic stranger had gotten his upper body wrangled in the window and the door wouldn't open. Of course, that's how this works. Stanley, his usual steely expression replaced with a look of shock, exited on the driver's side and went after Al Karawan himself. Connor shouted at the man in the window. Get out of the way! But no matter how hard Kano tried to push him back, the guy wouldn't stop trying to force his way in. Come on, man! Kano yelled. Stanley and Al Karawan were getting further and further away. Seriously, knock it off! And then suddenly the man was yanked back through the window from behind. A pair of rough-looking men had grabbed him by his lower body. No, no, he screamed. I can't do any day's hard labor! Somehow he was still managing to cling to the car door. Just give it up and go already. Let go already, snarled one of the assailants. The pair shifted their grip and pulled even harder. Kano heard the sound of tearing fabric as the two toughs tumbled backwards. Just like that, the crazed stranger was stripped down to his boxers. He let out a pathetic wail. I got to assume that that's intentionally a reference to his actor, but... Aw, man! The two toughs burst into uproarious laughter at the sight. Now's our chance, one of them managed to sputter. The pantsless man snatched up his ruined garment and bolted like a startled hare. Still cackling madly, his two pursuers rushed after him. A startled hare, like a startled hare, means to dart off incredibly quickly, in the manner of a fleeing rabbit. Yanagashita runs a lot more like a rat than a rabbit, though. Kano was still staring dumbstruck at the spectacle when Stanley returned to the car. Hey, Viv. You know the one Black Mirror-esque actor guy in this one? What? You know the one guy who basically lived a Black Mirror episode? Yes. Yes, and he's in this one? Yeah. They contrived a way to take his pants off. No luck. I lost track of him. This doesn't make sense, Kano said, forcing himself to refocus on the case. Al Karawan was taken back to the precinct. What is he doing walking free? Stanley gave him a dubious look. Have you seriously not figured it out? He asked. Or is this some kind of strange Japanese joke I'm not getting? What are you talking about? Kano replied. Do you know something I don't? Evidently I do. Your detective Tatino let him go on purpose. That is the only explanation. Enraged at the suggestion, Kano took a swing at him, but Stanley coolly caught his fist. It is not me you should be punching, the American warned. It is Tatino. I insist on having him mispronounce every single name he comes across because he's American. Abashed, Kano radioed up Kuze on the wireless. Sir, did Detective Tateno bring in Tariq Al-Karawan to the precinct? It would appear that Detective Tateno has gone rogue, Kuze replied with chagrin. He what? Surely Kano had misheard. We've received an eyewitness account. Someone saw him allowing the suspect to go free. No, it can't be. We currently do not know what Detective Tateno's whereabouts, or just what the hell is going on with him. After Kano ended the call, Stanley let out a low chuckle. Heh heh, I see. Looks like you had a traitor in your midst. Kano grabbed him by the collar. Stanley snorted. What are you trying to pull here? Tell me what you know, Kano snapped. All I did was state the facts. Look, I watched that man risk his life to talk down a would-be arsonist. He's a dyed-in-the-wool detective. He'd never betrayed anybody. I see, Stanley murmured. Then he's the real deal. Kano stared in surprise. He'd expected an argument. Good, he said. I'm glad we're on the same page. Tateno risked his life in order to get people to trust him. He's a dyed-in-the-wool spy, is what he is. Kano didn't have the words. He clenched his fist, trembling once more. He fumbled for his cell phone again. Oh. The hits just keep coming. He dialed Tateno's number. The phone rang 5 times but failed to connect. There has to be a reason for this, Kano muttered. Tateno must know something we don't. Really now? Stanley scoffed. And what makes you so sure of that? Because Detective Tateno was sure this kidnapping wasn't about the ransom. Kano's mind drifted back to 9 o'clock that morning. Ahead of their stakeout at the Scramble, he was walking with Tateno through the halls of the Shibuya precinct. We're gonna go do a bang-up job out there, Detective Tateno, he chirped. He was just a bit too excited about getting to take part in such a major case. Tateno patted Kano on the back. You need to take a step back. You're not letting yourself see the forest for the trees. What do you mean, sir? What I mean is that this is no ordinary kidnapping. Tateno's words triggered a little revelation. You're talking about the location for the ransom handoff, aren't you? Kano said. It doesn't make sense for the criminals to pick such a major intersection. Warmer? Tateno replied. Kano frowned inwardly. He'd been so sure that that was the answer. Have you thought about why they asked to have the sister make the handoff? Kano thought some more before answering. Because women are easier to deal with, he suggested. Colder? If that was the case, why not pick the mother? No. What worries me is the fact that the Osawa girls are twins. They're having us send someone to the handoff who looks identical to the girl they kidnapped. What is going to happen when we do that? What is going to happen, sir? Kano asked. I'm not sure yet, but I have a feeling the kidnapper's plan hinges on it. The two exited through the precinct's main entrance. Up ahead, rows of buildings stood tall against the backdrop of a bright blue sky. I think I saw this building in Neo-Tui. I think I saw this one in like the one area where you're in a enclosed circular walkway, kind of above a road. I think this is one of the buildings you can see in the background from there. Tateno let out a quiet sigh. To think that so many terrible things are happening out there on such a beautiful day. Solve one case and another's waiting, he went on. As always. What is it about people that drives them to do such horrible things? A girl abducted out of pure greed? When I think of how her parents must feel, I almost can't bear it. They made their way towards the Scramble. Tateno continued talking in a quiet voice. My father was a raging alcoholic. The house was always a complete mess. He was loud, violent, never had any money, always reeked of booze. My mother, she would cry and cry. I was afraid to come home. Every day I stayed out playing as late as I could possibly manage. Kano could hear the pain in Tateno's voice. That life took too much of a toll on my mother. She died when I was still in grade school. And my father? He just got worse. I was there with him at the end after he'd wasted away to almost nothing. Not the sort of childhood I'd ever wish on anybody. Sounds like you really went through a lot. Kano hated himself for uttering such an empty platitude, but he had no idea what else to say. Kano, as old as I am, I still don't really know what it is to be happy. I think that's probably because I've never known what it's like to have a happy family. Tateno sounded so forlorn. The only happiness I know how to protect is other people's happiness. Kano heard those words, the soul of a true detective. I just hope you're ready. Kano did his best to keep his voice as calm and level as he could, lifting up his clenched fist. Because if I find proof that Tateno is innocent, I am planting this right into your jaw. Stanley just cracked a wry smile. The traffic had finally diminished, and they rapidly drew closer to their destination. The syndicate's hangout was in Tomigaya, to the southwest of Yoyogi Park. Oh, so she's gonna. Oh, so Kanan is gonna be the one that killed everyone the first time that we got here, and then killed these two. Okay. The ratty building looked like it might have come crashing down at any minute. The Black Lodge sign out front looked deliberately ominous. Kano knew the place as a bar frequented by expats from various countries, as well as a hotbed of criminal activity. I'll take point, Stanley said. You back me up. He pulled a handgun from his suit pocket. It was a compact Glock, a model frequently used by the FBI or CIA. Kano drew his own gun, and the two cautiously made their way inside. At the end of the hallway was a wooden door, Stanley signaled with his eyes. Kano gave a tiny nod, and Stanley kicked the door in. Still sad that Stanley immediately getting stabbed to death 10 minutes after meeting him isn't a canon turn of events. Right? That'd be fucking hilarious. The stench of blood hit them as soon as they stepped inside. Kano let out a startled gasp. There were nearly a dozen bodies sprawled out across the floor. He recognized them all. They were men who'd participated in the repeated attaché case handoffs. Each appeared to have been stabbed to death. Stanley took a closer look. The blood's not fully dried. These guys weren't killed that long ago. Kano quickly scanned the bar high and low, but there was no sign of a killer in hiding. There was no trace of Maria either. One of the fallen men let out a faint, strained groan. Hey, Kano called out. Stay with us. He hunched down beside the wounded man. Ugh. A brief gurgle rose from the man's throat. He was clearly struggling to say something, but his voice was too garbled, too indistinct for Kano to make out any coherent words. Kanan. What was that? But there was no more. The dying man went limp and still. Yo! I think we finished off the hour. So that means we should get another little episode next time on. Yeah, here we go. Got a really bad proposition about this. Never take anything at face value. Just two of you calling flim flam. Do you know me? You've hoarded so many things to yourself. Hell yeah. Oh my god, there's a whole thing of her getting out of the suit? Oh, that's so cool. And now Maria's on the... Oh, that's so... I love it. Oh, that's good. Okay. Oh, I didn't want to start just yet. I want to actually call it here for today. All right, Maria. I think we're going to call it here for today because I am still a little bit exhausted. Thank you for coming out, everyone. I'll be doing more of this tomorrow. If you're a patron and you haven't yet, make sure you check your Patreon inbox and you vote for this month's feature creator. Or suggest someone for a future poll if you want to instead. Yeah. There's a new episode of Two Queers Play Out tomorrow. That one is going to be a different thing. That it's a continuation of a series we did a while back that we just picked up and did a new episode of. So hopefully you'll like it. I think it's pretty neat. If you follow me on Twitter, you probably know what it's about. But if not, it'll be a nice surprise. That's what I got for you. Have a great day, everyone. Ciao.